Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway, getting set for NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing. Bank of America 500 getting set to come your way. 500 miles, 334 laps. Let's take a look at our starting grid. Ryan the Rocket Man Newman picked up his 5th pole of the season, his 42nd of his career. He will lead him down in his Dodge. Jimmy Johnson, Mr. Lowe's Motor Speedway, outside the front row. Now while you watch to see where your favorite driver is starting, let's visit with our in-race reporter who had an incredible run last week at Talladega, driving the number 96 Chevrolet. Tony Rain starting back in 41st spot.
Hey, Tony, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Yeah, come on.
Hey, Tony, you kept this car up in the points all year long, and you had a great top 10 finish last week at Talladega, but, man, you only got 6 races left with this team. What do you want to accomplish?
We'll start tonight, but by working our way up through the field a little bit, we struggled some in practice and qualifying. And can't predict anything, but I can promise you one thing, this team will work their tails off all night, and if we can get this car better, we'll do it. So, you know, just tonight's the first night we run strong, and the rest of these races, and see if we can't finish 25th or better in the points.
Hey, Tony, turn 4 has been pretty tricky. Last night you saw what happened. How's your car handling that corner?
Well, in the spring I spun out there early in the race, so I know how slick it is. We watched the Busch race, all of us did, and obviously it was slick. So we're going to be careful a little bit early in the middle of the race. And towards the end there, you know, when we get buckled down racing hard, we'll just have to be careful there. It's a treacherous corner, always has been, and we'll do our best.
All right, buddy, have a great race, and we'll be talking to you later.
Check, guys.
Calling his shots for Tony tonight will be his crew chief, Brandon Thomas. Let's visit with him.
Hey, Brandon, Andy Petrie up top. You got a copy?
4, 3, 2, 1. Pit in.
Hey, Brandon, Andy Petrie up here. You got a copy?
That's 10-4, Andy.
Hey, Brandon, how are you going to turn this 41st starting position into another top 10?
A little bit of black magic, I believe. We need a couple of good things to happen for us. You know, a couple of cautions. The wrong time for the guys in the front would be a good thing for us in the back. Obviously, it's kind of easy. We just do what they don't do.
10-4. You guys have a good luck and have a good race.
I appreciate it, Andy. Thank you.
Looking for some gambles out of this team and not try to get up there with some track position early. Now, to shed some light on some of the stories we'll be following here tonight, let's head down to the pits. First, here's Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, you know, teammates Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, they've swapped points positions every race of the chase. Most recently coming last weekend at Talladega, where Jeff Gordon won the race and regained the points lead. Well, it could be a similar situation tonight. The two drivers combined have won 9 times here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Now the twist, Jeff Gordon has failed to finish 5 of his last races here. But Jimmy Johnson, on the other hand, has won 5 of the last 9 races. If history repeats itself, Jimmy Johnson goes to victory lane. Jimmy Johnson regains the points lead. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
And Jamie, what about the drivers positioned 3rd and 4th in the standings? Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart. For them tonight, their mission is to continue applying pressure and hope for an opportunity. For Boyer, though, this track has presented challenges. His best finish here, 19th. For Stewart, a different story. He's led over 500 laps here and has a victory. This track is nicknamed the Beast, and if it bites one of the championship leaders tonight, these two drivers could be ready to strike. Dave?
And there might be some drivers not in championship contention, Mike, that are looking to the win tonight. Let's talk about 3 of them. Ryan Newman, who talked to us in the Countdown show, he is one of them, the pole sitter. Of course, he said, I need to do what the 48 does, which is hang around to the end, the 5-time winner, Jimmy Johnson. So if he does that, he might break his 75-race winless streak. Now, a guy who had his first win here in May, Casey Mears. That was the thing that the team says turned their season around. Since then, great finishes, lots of top 10s, and lots of top 5s. And what about the 8-car Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Well, folks, this is home. And Jr. has felt very at home in his race car at this track this weekend. It's fast, he is confident, and he'll be one to watch for tonight here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Alan?
Now, Dave, let's talk about Calamity Corner and trouble in turn 4. We've seen the races the last 3 weeks at Dover, Kansas, and Talladega, where a lot of the drivers chasing the championship have been swept up in accidents and suffered poor finishes and point losses as a result. If that happens here tonight, it's likely to happen right behind me in tricky turn 4. Since this racetrack was repaved 3 years ago, lots and lots of crashes off this corner. It's proven very difficult to handle. This is even in last night's NASCAR Busch Series race. Some of the best in the business. That's Clint Boyer in the 2, just spinning out and crashing in tricky turn 4. This is Jason Leffler, one of the top Busch Series drivers. Gets away in turn 4. If the championship standings are jumbled up tonight, The cause is likely to be that place, turn number 4.
Great point, guys. Allen, the Calamity corner, one slip there here at the Beast, and it could totally change the complexion of the race. And in tonight's case, it could totally change the complexion of the chase for the Nextel Cup. 8 high-definition onboard cameras, 5 of them in Chase contenders cars. Denny Hamlin starts 11th in the FedEx Chevrolet. Matt Kenseth starts in 7th in the Ford Carhat Ford Fusion. Tony Stewart 29th, the Home Depot Chevy. Kevin Harvick starts back in 24th in the Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet. Jeff Burton, last night's winner in the Busch Series, starts 27th in the AT&T Chevy. Leading rookie contender Juan Pablo Montoya starts 36th in the Big Red Texaco Dodge. Michael Waltrip, last week's pole winner at Talladega, starts 19th in the Napa Auto Parts Toyota. And you've already heard from Tony Raines, who starts 41st in the Texas Instruments DLP Chevrolet, coming off of that top 10 finish a week ago. What a spectacle. It is truly a coliseum for the courageous. NASCAR's Nextel Cup stars, 43 of the world's greatest race car drivers, and folks, over 170,000 strong here, cameras in hands, watching NASCAR's finest show at Lowe's Motor Speedway. 500 miles, 334 laps, and Rusty Wallace, right now you're buckled up in that car, knowing what's facing you tonight. What are you thinking about here as you're getting ready to go to war here in NASCAR's mile-and-a-half arena?
Jerry, the first thing that's on my mind right now is getting some heat in the tires, and hopefully at the start of this race I can get through turn 4. I really think there's going to be some action there. But I know one thing, Andy, these drivers are thinking about that corner. They're worried about that corner. And like I said, you can do the best you can. You can worry all you want, but getting heat in the tires is probably the best thing you can do.
Race analysis, we mentioned it is 500 miles, 334 laps, pit road speed 45 miles an hour. Pit window, Andy, that could be critical here because of what happened in the spring.
Well, we saw the race being won on fuel mileage here in the spring, so these guys, you know, they've got them tuned up, try to get the most fuel mileage they can get.
12 drivers trying to go for a championship. 7 former NASCAR Nextel Cup champions in the field. 12 drivers in the field who have won here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. None more, though, than Jimmy Johnson on the outside of the front row. Ryan Newman hasn't won in 75 races. Right behind him, the King Richard Petty's car with Bobby Labonte aboard. He hasn't won in 138 starts. Here they come, 2 by 2. Fans on their feet. Sit back and enjoy, folks. NASCAR Nextel Cup racing at Lowe's Motor Speedway underway. Said, that's my groove, and I'm going to take it early on.
Well, he just dusted him off 3 wide on the top side of turn 2, heading down the back straightaway, and didn't think twice about that corner being slick or nothing. David Rudiman in the wall already right off the bat.
Rudiman trying to follow.
Hold it up there, hold it.
Entering Calamity corner, you heard us talking about it.
I thought that was too early to be getting up in that groove. Especially when Junior got up there too quick, and then here Rudiman follows him up there and gets in the wall.
Oh, man, I tell you, you really had to be nervy.
I just drove in there and it tried to just come around.
You had to be nervy, Dale Earnhardt Jr., driving in turn 2, 3 wide like he did. But he learned something last night.
We'd have thought David Rudiman would have learned a little bit too, because he got in the wall in the Busch race. It's just so difficult to get going here on these cold tires.
Andy, he was almost in the tracks of Earnhardt Jr. Earnhardt Jr. didn't slip, but he did.
But his car was just a little bit freer than Junior's, and that's how he got up there.
We don't even get an entire lap completed. Remember the 0-0 Rudiman in the wall in lap 1 last night in the 99 car, also in the wall here in the NASCAR Busch Series race. Back with more after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway under caution for the first time tonight, coming out on lap number 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr. lighting the fires in turn 2 on the high groove. David Rudiman following right along behind him in the 0-0. Now, Jr. gets through the corner. Rudiman's Toyota not quite so lucky.
No, he just got into turn 3 on the entry. Right in the middle of the turn, got loose, crashed up in the wall. But his car looks like it's got some damage on the right side. I think I can fix it, Andy, get this thing back out there.
Yeah, his car last night looked very similar to this car. He got in the wall coming off turn 4 in the Busch race. You see the sparks flying off the side of it right here. Almost the exact same thing. they came in, fixed the car, came back, and had a good run.
Yeah, for you David Rudiman fans, he charged back through the pack last night and finished 12th after bouncing it off the concrete. Rudiman's car on pit road are going to try to pull some of those fenders out. Very important to get those fenders back up. And this guy, I mean, he waited all the way to turn 1 to make his move.
Boy, take a look at Dale Jr. now. He just gets down into turn 1. The rest of them are a little slower. He stays in the throttle, makes it 3 wide. He's going so much faster. It's unreal. And Andy, I got to believe it's because he's got the confidence from racing last night.
I'm thinking he's got too much confidence because I picked Dale Earnhardt Jr. to win this race because I thought he would be smarter tonight and not do this so early, but he jumps up there right away.
Right in front of Kevin Harvick. Now watch him go all the way up to the outside. I mean, that's courage. All the way up near the wall in lap 1.
That is a lot of courage. In fact, there's a lot of debris coming out from the back of the car, dust and dirt from the dirty racetrack from sitting overnight. That's a pretty nervy move, guys.
That groove's going to be great here later, but it's going to take just a few laps to get it cleaned off. The way Junior's going, he'll have it cleaned pretty quick.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has never won a points-paying race here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. 24 starts combined between Cup and Busch. His famous father won here 8 times. He wants it here tonight. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, will lead him down to the green flag for the restart here on lap number 5. Single file in turns 1 and 2. Dale Earnhardt Jr. going halfway to Concord to make that pass. Now he falls back in line behind the 38 of David Gilliland, zipping by the 07 of Clint Boyer, or trying to.
The Junior said it worked once. Let's try it again. It was 3 wide past that last time, and now, he's starting to think twice now. Clint Boyer in the bottom lane.
This is the time of the race I need to see my guy tiptoeing a little bit. I want to make sure we get through these first laps clean so we have a shot.
Yeah, this is awful aggressive for Dale Jr., but he's got that confidence in the track. But, right dead against the wall right now. No room for error.
He's driving like a guy that hadn't got anything to lose.
Kevin Harvick 5th in the chase points. His teammate, the 07, Clint Boyer, 3rd in chase points. They're running side by side. As you see now, Earnhardt Jr. moving down to the bottom of the racetrack.
This is a big night for Kevin Harvick to make some points up on the rest of those leaders in the chase for the championship. And this has been a pretty good track for Kevin. He just needs to stay working on this car throughout the night. He can gain some big points.
Back up front, challenge up front, the 26 car, Jamie McMurray. This track has got some very special memories for him. McMurray now challenging Ryan Newman, possibly for the lead.
Jamie McMurray had a big crash entering turn 1 last night. Tried a pretty aggressive move getting into 1 and spun the car, crashed it hard. And Andy, that's on his mind right now.
I guarantee that's on his mind. He had, like I said, a great car last night, but tonight his car looks just as good, maybe even better. He's going to have to be a little smarter tonight.
McMurray took a sniff on the inside, coming out of turn 2, thought better of it. Let's see if he takes a move down going into 3. All the way down against that white line, trying to hold on. And remember, turn 4 last night, a lot of guys couldn't hold on that white line. Allen.
Jamie McMurray's team very confident in this race car after yesterday's final practice stock. In fact, most all the Roush teams very confident in their Fords for tonight's race. Jamie's team ran extremely well here in the May race earlier this year, but got caught up in one of those tricky turn 4 wrecks. Went to the back of the field and still came back for a top 20 finish. Jamie?
And Alan, I'll take it right now for the 12 car of Ryan Newman as he falls back to 2nd, and it looks like he's going to be challenged for that position as well. This is the car that they ran at Kansas. Engine expired, but it was a great test for that car. They had to start at the rear of the field for a post-qualifying inspection penalty, but they drove toward the front all day long, and they felt very confident about keeping this car in competition at the front of the pack all day long, or all evening long, here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Now, folks, remember one thing. These guys practice during the day and they're racing during the night. These chassis setups are going to change big time. They're already different right now. And Andy, they're going to have to work in these cars throughout the night as this track cools down more yet.
You typically think this racetrack's going to tighten up, and that's what it's always done. But I talked to some guys down there in the garage area, and they said last night it seemed like the track actually freed up, or the cars got looser. So, these guys are just waiting for the feedback from the drivers from this run to see how to change their car.
Let's update David Rudiman in the pits with Mike Massaro.
And Doc, you want to know how hard David Rudiman hit the wall? Take a look at his wheel right here. A lot of shrapnel, a lot of paint and concrete from the wall. That's how hard he hit the wall. The right side damage, extensive. He just came over the radio not too long ago saying it's really messed up, guys. We need to work on this all night long.
Wow, that is one hard lick, Mike. Thanks for showing that for us. For more information on tires, log on to ESPN.com. Search word safety.
Doc, I was watching Ryan Newman yesterday in practice, and his car looked really good. He had some fast lap times. This doesn't surprise me at all that he's running the top side of the racetrack. He did it last night. But, Andy, he's going to have to stay working on this car to keep up with the track.
He seems to have turned this program around a little bit. He had a great run at Kansas, and he's always been fast at this racetrack. He's just never been able to put it together at the end of the race. But he's fast right now.
Well, right now we're hearing the 12 car is a little bit too loose at the moment. That's the reason he's running the top side of the racetrack, trying to get some side bites, trying to get the back of that car to stick to the track better.
Some of the guys who like this racetrack, we talk about the 4 wins for Jeff Gordon. In front of him is the 17 car, Matt Kenseth. His very first career victory came at this racetrack, Lowe's Motor Speedway, back in May of 2000. Now he moves in on the 12 car of Ryan Newman, and we're hearing reports that the 12 car is very loose entering the corner.
Yeah, he's just going to have to stay working on that loose section, Jerry. This is something the drivers can fix the next pit stop.
Is that why he's running? He run this high line because the car is loose. You're afraid to just turn the wheel too much? I mean, why is he running up there?
You're exactly right, Andy. The bigger part of the racetrack's on the top side. If they pin it down on the bottom, the car gets pretty loose. If they let the car have a little more room, move it up the top of the track, it'll handle better.
Jimmy Johnson moving in on Jamie McMurray. Johnson, of course, the 5-time winner here, swept both races at Lowe's Motor Speedway in 2004 and 2005, finished second to Casey Kane in both events here a year ago.
It's like Jimmy's got a better race car than Jamie right here, but he's just biding his time, being real smart. Yeah, I'm sure he wants these 5 points for leading, but he knows he's got plenty of time and a great race car.
Well, right now we're only 15 laps into this race, and these chassis are going to start changing a lot. They just need to stay working on them and stay adjusting on the cars, and it'll get a little different every single stop.
Jamie McMurray wants to win a race. Jimmy Johnson wants to win the chase. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway under caution for the second time tonight. One of the top rookie contenders, David Reagan, having trouble with his Ford Roush Fenway car number 6 on lap 21. We'll show you what happened to David here just a moment ago.
Pretty tight racing right here. Oh. Didn't know that 41 was out there, I bet.
No, I just didn't see it coming. If I was a spotter, I'd have been hollering right now. He's an outside, but he might have been doing that. This stuff happens awful quick. You close the rate of closure. As you're coming to that start-finish line, that's your fastest part of the racetrack right there.
If you don't hear your spotter say somebody on the outside, do you assume that you're clear in that spot?
No, I don't. I'm looking at my mirror all the time. I don't totally rely on my spotter at all.
Folks, Jimmy Johnson taking over the lead here, going by Jamie McMurray, and of course he is also in the points lead as of right now, and also he's in the pits as of right now as we go down to Alan Bestwick.
Going to see a real strategy scramble here, Doc. Jamie McMurray going to pit from second. He's going to take just 2 right side tires, so that will set off a chain reaction down pit road. We'll see who else does the same. Jamie?
And Jimmy Johnson started second. Didn't take long to take over the lead. He said his car is just a little edgy, but it's not bad, and it's not bad off. He's pretty happy with it overall. He's expected to take right sides right now, and that's all they do. He's down and away. Dave?
Ryan Newman has faded back to fourth. The car was loose. It went to the tight side. He will take on 2 right side tires, slight air pressure adjustment. And Alan was right. They a variety of strategies. They talked about 3 different ways to service a 12 car and ended up with 2 right side tires and air pressure.
There's the race off of pit road. Got one car stalled up in the pits, having trouble getting in or getting out. One of the Dodges for Gillette Evernham has some damage on the right front. You see Ryan Newman gained a couple of spots by virtue of his pit position. They were able to pit. He was able to scoot across that line right in behind Jimmy Johnson. How tough is it to get tires changed in the pits? Jackman Michael Clyde on the 26 car. Jamie McMurray now Jack in the car, watching what's happening with the tires. Got to get that jack to the other side, but only going to change 2 right sides. Made it a little bit easier. Back with a restart at Lowe's Motor Speedway in just a moment.
We go back to green racing here at the Bank of America 500. For those of you who just watched Kentucky stun LSU in triple overtime, 43-37, we welcome you to 500 miles of NASCAR going car to car. The battle for the chase reaches the halfway point tonight. Teammates Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson battling for the lead, and everyone else in hot pursuit as we go back upstairs now to Dr. Jerry Punch. And Jerry, what a year for college football. What's going to happen next, my friend?
Wow, what a year indeed, Brent. How about number one getting knocked off by a Cinderella team, having a Cinderella season? Congratulations to the Wildcats of Kentucky. Could that be an omen here tonight? Number one, maybe Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson getting knocked off by someone trying to have a Cinderella year.
What about Jamie McMurray knocking off Robbie Gordon right now, going for the lead? And McMurray's had a really good car in practice. We saw him early. Two teammates running side by side now. Look at this. Matt Kentz is picking up the inside. And last night, Andy, we saw these Roush Fenway cars hooking up and driving off.
They got a great setup for this track. I've just seen that Matt Kenseth has just impressed me so much in this chase, how he's been so aggressive early. He's going for this lead and trying to get these points, and he's trying to do everything he can to make points, lead the most laps, lead laps.
You talk about being surprised. I was surprised on the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. rocketed around the top side. Now he seems like he's struggling just a little bit. But McMurray's not struggling at all right now.
It looked like McMurray gave that spot to the 17 car so he could get those 5 points.
Alan?
A couple things to watch on Matt Kenseth. First of all, he did just get 2 tires on his pit stop to keep his track position. Other thing is, watch that car hug that white line separating the banked part of the racetrack from the safety apron. Matt's car in both of yesterday's practices was able to stay on that line all practice long. If they can do that all night long and be as fast as they are right now, they're going to be hard to beat.
Alan, this is something these guys need to find out if it's going to work or not. The 2 tires like our front leaders have done right now. This is a perfect time in the race to try it out. But take a look at the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. working that top side again. He's had 1 stiff pit stop now, and he's been adjusting on his car.
You know, we saw the 29 car last night with Jeff Burton hugging that white line all night long, and he won the race last night. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. was going to beat him on that top lane if they didn't get that last caution. So I predict you're going to see this top lane we see Jr. running right now become the lane of choice.
I'm not going to bet against that one, Andy. That's for sure. He's comfortable up there.
Let's go down to Jamie Little.
Well, guys, Kevin Harvick just radioing in. They think they have a right side flat. He came in on that pit stop and took right sides. They think it's going down, and the crew chief, Todd Berry, are telling him, hang in there. We're going to get a caution. Hang in. And you see him dropping back 1 position at a time. They've had this happen to him already in the chase, guys.
Kevin Harvick just can't buy a break. He after last week, trying to nurse that car at Talladega on 7 cylinders, somehow managed to get a 20th place finish and stay 5th in the chase points.
They've got to be shaking their head. It's just the same story, different chapter. Tonight, he's having the same kind of things go wrong. He's got to be thinking, man, what have I got to do different?
Jimmy Johnson back in 3rd position.
Tell you, we haven't talked much about Kurt Busch, but look at there right now. He's up in the 3rd position, and his lap times are equal with the leaders. And Kurt's another driver working the top of the racetrack, and another driver that I picked. I think he can get back up in his chase for the championship.
This is a good example of how this top groove and the bottom groove are working. You see that 48 car stick right on that bottom line, and he gets through the corner real fast, but that momentum that the 2 cars getting from that top side is just hard to overcome. Jimmy says, okay, I'm going to try it now.
Jimmy Johnson had led 1,039 laps here at this racetrack coming into tonight. He's already credited with leading 6 laps. And here you heard Jamie talking about Kevin Harvick, the troubles he's had. He is on pit road now, slowing down and headed to his pits. Jamie.
And indeed, he is coming in. He's in now for right sides only. It was a flat, he said. He felt it. They went through this at Loudon. They had not 1 but 2 flats that set him back in the chase. Right sides are on. He's down and away, Doc.
That tire might be flat, but it didn't look like it when he was rolling down pit road. Could be down a few pounds, but boy, that's a tough break for Harvick.
This is way too early. 32 laps in the race to already have these problems. If he's going to try to go for the chase for the championship, his team looks like they're in trouble right now, but they're not quitters. I know that.
Kevin Harvick's never won at this racetrack here, making his 14th start. Surprisingly, he's as good as he is on 1.5 mile tracks here. His best finish was 2nd in his very first start here back in 2001.
And don't forget the All-Star race where he just spanked them here earlier this year. So he's got the setup for this racetrack.
Andy, I wanted to ask you, Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well as Kurt Busch, we see him running that high line. Do you have to set your race car up differently to go out and run the top groove all night long? Or is it the same setup, you're just taking a lot of chances? What do you have to do differently to your race car?
Brad, that's a great question. I was down there talking to Steve Letarte with a 24 car, and he says he makes Jeff, and Jeff's philosophy is the same, to run that car on the bottom of the racetrack, all practice long, tune on the car on the bottom, and then if he has to move up to the top, they'll adjust. But if you got Junior, he's planning on running up there. This 2-car, Kurt Busch, he's planning on running up there, so I know that they have tuned their setup because it is a definitely different racetrack up top than it is on the bottom.
Alan?
2 tires for Kurt Busch on his first pit stop, Doc, to get some track position. This part of the race has been the strength for this 2 team. The early part of the race, where they've been missing, is that last adjustment and the last segment of the race to turn a good early part into a win. Kurt says the job tonight is to finish the job, to be as strong at the end of the race as they are now at the beginning.
Everybody always knew that Kurt Busch was a good driver. When they hired Pat Tryson to be the crew chief on this car, it absolutely turned this team around. They've been faster, they've been more consistent, and Kurt has a great relationship with this new crew chief, Pat Tryson.
Kurt Busch in the chase, and as you take a look at the top of your screen, you'll see the top ticker is where the drivers are running in the race. Now, right below that is our in the chase ticker. You'll be able to keep up with where the drivers are in the chase. Kurt Busch gaining a couple spots with that 7th place finish at Talladega a week ago. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC station. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. This beautiful aerial shots from high above this gorgeous facility, jam-packed with NASCAR stock car fans, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. 2-car in the 48, that is 2nd and 3rd, Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson.
Right now, these two are running about the same speed, the same line around the racetrack. It's early in the race, just feeling these cars out, trying to see what they need the next pit stop.
It's like we got Harvick in the pits again here. Must not have got the right tire that was flat, or they may have another problem.
Yeah, this team just got lapped again. They're 2 laps down right now, and they've been way off the pace. Jamie?
Well, Kevin Harvick made the call. He said the car's just not feeling right. They think it's the left sides now, so he told his crew, I'm coming in. We need to get these tires off. We need to get new right sides and new left sides. So they're going to make those changes, and hopefully that'll help and push them through the pack. So they're exercising patience right now, Doc.
That right there is the reason that I would always get 4 tires when you have a problem, because it just seems like you never pick the right side or the correct side to change the tires on.
Heating up front here, Jimmy Johnson now trying to move to the inside of the 2-car of Kurt Busch. Johnson has already led 6 laps tonight. That's Jamie McMurray, the 26 car, the leader right in front of them, watching these guys run side by side.
You know, it appears right now that Jimmy Johnson can run the bottom of the track and the top of the track, Andy, and he's making up ground, you know, every single lap. I've been watching his lap times, and they're moving all over, but he's moving forward.
He's got the bottom of the racetrack working real well for him. He's getting through the corner faster than the 2-car is, but this momentum he carries off the top is taking Kurt Busch by him on the straightaway.
How much of that is set up from the crew chief, and how much of that is driver preference?
Well, there's a lot of driver preference a driver wants, but then once he tells the crew chief what he wants, it's up to you guys to get it done.
That's right. We got to make it work for him. He's saying, hey, man, I need this car to be a little freer so I can run right up next to the wall, or I need it to be a little tighter, and you got to make it work for him. He's going to give you all the feedback, and if it's not working right, he'll let you know.
Now, folks, remember one thing. These drivers practice during the day, and they're racing at night, so they've never run this particular weather setup yet, so they're making a lot of changes right now to try to get these cars working.
Looking at the back of the 42 car, Juan Pablo Montoya, he's had some damage on his car already in his Dodge. There's one Montoya. The bottom part of your screen has already had some contact with the wall and damage. You see a little bit of smoke coming out of the back of the car, and the leaders are now moving in on him as Jimmy Johnson has gone by McMurray to retake the lead.
Wow, that's weird. The Lowe's car leading at Lowe's Motor Speedway again.
Imagine that, huh?
Now he's got the lead. He's went past Juan Pablo Montoya, and for Montoya, that's got to be sickening. 47 laps in this race, and he's been in a wall, and he's already a lap down.
Just going to have to hang on to it until they can get a pit stop to fix this thing, beat the fenders out. He's probably got a little bit of damage with the toe end. Maybe they can adjust on that. It's going to be a long night for Montoya.
Let's take a look at our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge. Which former NASCAR Nextel Cup champion has the best chance to catch points leader Jeff Gordon? Would it be A, Jimmy Johnson, B, Tony Stewart, C, Kurt Busch, or D, Matt Kenseth? Text the word crew to 191 on your wireless phone and send in your answer. The results will be shown later on in tonight's broadcast. Here's Robbie Gordon headed to pit road in his car. Unscheduled stop for Robbie.
Well, look at all totally unscheduled. I don't think he made a pit stop there when those other guys did under caution.
Andy, did you see all that brake dust come off the right front? It looks like these guys are already starting to use the brakes pretty hard.
Jamie, did they figure out what was wrong with the 29 car?
Well, indeed, that time they did. Doc came in and they changed all 4 tires. What happened? Kevin Harvick misdiagnosed the problem to begin with. It was actually a left rear flat, not the right sides. So therefore, they pitted 2 times, and they didn't need to.
2 car, Kurt Busch trying to go by McMurray for second position on the left side of your screen, and now probably a very frustrated and probably a little bit angry Kevin Harvick now getting up to speed after that wasted first pit stop.
That's the situation where I overrule the driver. He says, hey, I think it's the right side. You know, the driver can't really tell which tire's flat. He just knows the car's not handling right. That's when I would make the call to change all 4 tires. Don't take a chance on changing the wrong tire.
And you know, as weird as that sounds, Andy, why should a driver not know the difference between the right and the left? Let me tell you, there's 2 tires in the front that make a turn. There's 2 tires in the back that keep the back end hooked up. And sometimes they both feel the same. The right rear and the left rear, you just can't tell.
If you're Todd Berrier, you pretty much go with what the driver wants to be done, but obviously that was a difficult, trying to save a few seconds, cost him probably a couple of more laps.
Yeah, I taught Todd Berrier better than that. He knows better.
Jimmy Johnson is our leader. Kurt Busch in second spot. Jamie McMurray is third. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, back in 4th position. Matt Kenseth is 5th. Clint Boyer, one of the chasers, is in 6th. Bobby Labonte 7th. Gilliland 8th. And the 25 car, Casey Mears. And what a May Casey Mears had here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. We asked him the thoughts and remembrances about that very first Cup win here back in May.
You know, I had a huge sigh of relief, really, after, you know, 4 years or a little over 4 years of trying to win a race here in this series and finally getting one. You know, it's funny because I was extremely excited, very happy, you know, after the race, but I think that, you know, the day after, I was 10% happy and 90% relieved.
He said that it was neat being able to go to Victory Lane here on Memorial Day weekend, but when he got back to his motorhome and got ready to change, the phone rang, and it was Uncle Rick Mears, the 4-time Indy 500 winner. And for Rick to call me after I watched Rick all those years win at Indianapolis, to call me and say, congratulations, Casey, that first win under your belt, you know, happy for you. So that meant more to me than anything in the world.
Those first wins are really special. The rest of once you get that first win, I mean, how important is it now to get that second one to say, hey, I belong here. This is something I deserve to do.
It's very important, Andy. You want to legitimize yourself. You want to say, hey, the first one wasn't a fluke. And when you win again, you go, okay, guys, I'm in the club now. I belong here, and I'm part of this deal. And it really makes you feel good.
Well, the man who is chairman of that club at this racetrack anyway, driving the Lowe Chevrolet at Lowe's Motor Speedway, that guy, Jimmy Johnson, reigning NASCAR Nextel Cup champion. Johnson now has led twice for 15 laps. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Jimmy Johnson wins his 2nd straight Coke 600.
Jimmy Johnson wins the UAW GM Quality 500. It's the Charlotte Sweep.
Jimmy Johnson,
48 car.
he did it!
4 in a row at Lowe's.
Boy, I don't know how you guys can say domination, but I'm saying, yeah, domination!
How about this for Jimmy Johnson's record at Lowe's Motor Speedway? 12 starts, 5 wins, sweeps of both races in 04 and 05. What makes him so good here besides the fact that his car says Lowe's?
Yeah, as well as 11 top 10s, you can sprinkle that in there. Jimmy's a very aggressive race car driver, and at this racetrack, even though it's home to all the race teams, guys don't like running this racetrack. It is a bumpy, it used to be a really bumpy, tough racetrack. Now it's a lot smoother, but the transitions through turn 4 are treacherous, as we talked about all time long. He really attacks this racetrack. He runs high, he runs low. He's a smart racer, but he is really, really up on that wheel, and he drives the wheel off that race car.
Now, guys don't like it, but he says this is his favorite track. As we get up to speed on our 12 chase drivers, Jamie Little kicks it off with our leader.
Well, Susie, I asked his crew chief, Chad Canals, why he's so good here. He said this track is so conducive to Jimmy Johnson's driving style, and it's the way that Chad Knaus wants to set up a race car. It also helps, like you guys said, that the sponsor is on his car. But Jimmie Johnson, so far, so good. They said they're going to pit in about 11 laps. Alan?
Well, Kurt Busch started this race back in 8th position. He moved his way up to 2nd. He said he wanted to get by Jimmie Johnson and get 5 bonus points for the championship. Only problem is Johnson's a little faster than he is right now.
During this last run, Alan, the 07 of Clint Boyer has driven from 13th all the way up to 3rd. There's been a lot of coaching going on. Back up your corner. Don't drive it in quite so harsh. They're getting this rookie up to the front of the pack with a fast race car and great talent, Alan.
Little drama on Matt Kenseth's radio just in the last minute and a half or so. He came on the radio, said, "We're blowing up, guys." Robbie Reicher, the crew chief, answered, "You're kidding me." Then they told Matt to switch batteries. He flipped the switches inside the cockpit, came back on the radio, said, "This battery's good." Apparently they have an alternator problem. We'll follow up. Kenseth running 5th now. Dave?
Another fast race car, the 5 of Kyle Busch, has moved his way up through the pack, restarted in the 18th position. And there he is right now, the 5 car of Kyle Busch. 4 tires and air pressure adjustment on the last run. A little snug all the way through the corner right now for him.
And Jeff Gordon started 4th. He's currently running 12th. He's actually moved up 2 spots to 10th. His car's coming around a little bit, but he's saying he has a push. Basically, when he goes into the corner, that car just wants to go straight. 41 on the wall, guys.
Jamie caution for the third time. Third time and not the 41 car. Reed Sorensen, his Dodge has had contact with the concrete. Now we'll bring out caution here on lap 67, about 8 to 12 laps prior to their scheduled pit stops.
He's got a right front tire down. We heard on the radio there that he said he blew a right front. Had quite a few guys scrape the wall, and there could be some debris out there that these guys are getting into. But that thing definitely blew out. It's a good thing he was up that close to the wall.
That's a great point right there, Andy. A lot of guys, if they blow a tire and you're in the bottom of the track, you're going to go clear to the top and knock that wall down. He was only 2 foot off that wall.
Almost identically the same spot he hit last night in the NASCAR Busch Series race. Of course, last night he lost an axle in the Busch car, hit the wall pretty hard, and tonight his car, his Dodge, just slips up across the track and then pops it there.
Jerry, boy, if he's on the bottom of the track, it really tears that car up bad. These guys might be able to get back in the hunt right now, but he's beating the fenders out. The thing back on track, fixed the toe in.
Remember, most of these guys that were on pit road a little bit ago took only right side tires. Andy, I think we're going to get 4 good years and everything you can get in this stop.
You'll definitely see 4 tire stops here. And the reason is because they're going to be able to take or need to take on 2 cans of fuel. And it takes about 15 seconds to drain both of those cans. So they'll be taking 4 tires here.
Cars coming on the pit road. Let's go down to Alan Bestwick.
Kurt Busch with the first pit stall on pit road. As Andy called, it will be a 4-tire change here. Some air pressure adjustments as well on this 2 car to try and help the handling on that machine. Jamie?
And Jimmie Johnson just came over the radio, said it's the first signs of his car being tight. He's going to come in and take 4 tires. That first stop, he only took right sides. This should help him out. Dave?
This is Clint Boyer's first stop for 4 tires. The first one he took 2. This will be a 4-tire stop. Slight air pressure adjustment, but please don't change the way the car is running. It's really, really fast. Here they go to the left side now to try to get Clint back off of pit road. And finishing up, they'll try to keep their position, but it seems prolonged. He lost a couple spots, it looks like, guys.
Long pit stop for Boyer. You see Kurt Busch will lead him off of pit road, gains a spot. Kenseth up a couple of spots. Jimmie Johnson back 2. Kyle Busch up 3 spots, and Busch had a very fast race car. Of course, McMurray back in 5 positions. Greg Biffle in the 16 car on pit road getting his tires changed. And his crew cam, Jackman Craig Pope out of Marietta, Georgia. Watch these guys go to work.
And you see his Jackman, he gets that car up and he helps that right rear tire changer pull that tire off. He sets it in place for the other tire carrier to roll over to the wall. He has to get this left side up. That's all he has to do on the left side is get the car up, make sure that these guys are ready to go. You see him making a chassis adjustment on the left rear. He's down and away.
And that's how you get it done in 13 seconds or less on pit road. Back with a restart here at Charlotte in just a moment. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway, Concord, North Carolina, Bank of America 500, lap 70 of 334. We are working caution for the 3rd time today. Car number 41 having contact with the wall. Here's our Ford lap leaders, Jimmie Johnson. You see Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman. Now, some of the guys that stayed on the racetrack to lead a lap for very precious points. You get 5 points for leading a lap, 5 bonus points. Kyle Petty stayed out, Kurt Busch, Dave Blaney. And, of course, the 22 car of Dave Blaney stayed out to lead a lap because they're battling for that 35th position in owner's points.
It cost these guys a little bit to do that, too, because Kyle Petty stayed out under that first caution, and he had to pit under green because of it, so he lost a lap. He's a lap down now because of trying to lead the race and get those 5 points. Now, Dave Blaney has gone to the very back of these guys. He led that lap, then he had to come in the pits, and he comes out on the tail end of the lead lap car.
Set for the restart. Kurt Busch leads him down in the Dodge. A Ford behind him, Kenseth, and a Chevy behind him, Jimmy Johnson. Love that shot of the car sailing by off of turn 2 as they go by the grass, and now down on the bottom of the racetrack, J.J. Yaley trying to make a move to the inside. That's the green car. Yaley being shown a lap down. He is the first car a lap down. He wants to stay there to be able to get the free pass if the yellow were to come back out.
Take a look at Kurt Busch right there leading this race. These guys have been able to pit, put 4 tires on, make the chassis adjustments they need. The track's going down again. They need to stay up with the racetrack.
17 car, Matt Kenseth. Yes, he's one of the chasers, but he's 11th in chase points, 318 back. So really the pressure is off for this team. They just want to go out and win races and do the best they can.
That's all they can do now is just lay down the best laps they can every lap. Don't worry about it. Roll the dice on pit stop strategies. Do whatever it takes to get some wins. And hey, if they, the other guys have trouble, they might even be there. Alan?
Well, Matt Kenseth came on the radio to his crew chief, Robbie Reiser, during the caution. They had a discussion about what to do about the problem. We'll let you listen in.
We can take a little wedge out, put a little, half a turn on the right rear or something. Might be one thing that might low enough. Here he goes. You gotta be kidding me here. Hold on. Stay low. I don't think we'll make no race, Robbie. I don't know if I can make no race without brake motors either, to tell you the truth. I'll try, but it's gonna be hard. Right now, we'll just see what we got here. We're gonna have to change the battery. I'll have to get that all prepared and ready to go here.
So you see Robbie Reiser down on the ground off the top of the pit box, making the plan with his crew about what they'll do if they have to change the battery. Further conversation with Matt and the team. Matt was told from the moment he switched to the backup battery, he's good at race voltage for 170 minutes. Now that's a little shy of 3 hours. So what they're going to do is try and keep the electric fans to the brakes off as much as possible. Every now and then Matt's going to switch back to the old battery that was run down when the alternator first failed to try and get some life out of that. And they're going to see how long they can nurse this to keep from giving up all their track position by having to come in and make a lengthy battery change.
Great update, Alan, on what's happening here with Matt Kenseth. Now, the battery change, going to a backup battery, problems with the alternator. Let's explain exactly what they're doing as we go down to our Chevy cutaway car inside our ESPN Dish Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Jerry. What you have here, folks, some cars have single batteries.
Okay, Tim, hang on 1 second. We'll get back to you in just a moment here. We got trouble on the racetrack. Our in-race reporter, Tony Raines.
Oh, let's get ready with some seatbelt here. How bad is it, Luke? I think the spoiler's just down a little bit on the left side, and that's the left rear quarter panel. I got to get some bear bond ready here. Try to get that quarter panel back down. Get the spoiler beat up as much as you can.
Tony Raines coming off that great run at Talladega a week ago where he battled all afternoon and stayed in the top 10 to come home in 9th place. Has had contact with the wall.
Crews are going to have a little bit of work to do right here.
Just hold your line. Hold on to it now. Hold on to it.
They just snapped around on time.
Hold it up there. Hold your brakes. Hold your brakes. All right, come on.
Tony Raines, of course, this car next year being driven by J.J. Yaley. Tony trying to drive and make a statement the last 6 races of the year to be able to get a ride for 2008. Now, as he comes on the pit road, let's check in once again with Tim Brewer to update what's going on with the battery and alternator.
Thanks, Jerry. Pardon the interruption, folks. As we got one battery sitting in the car here, that's not my way of doing things because you have to disconnect it, pull the battery out, change it. You know, my concept is 2 batteries. Therefore, we can exactly go back over here from A battery, switch to B battery, and it'll do its job. A lot of guys like tungsten in the car, but this tungsten, it's not going to get you out of this situation. This second battery, it'll bail you out. Jerry?
Thank you, Tim. Tungsten, by the way, that is ballast or weight, so you can adjust the weight in the car. Andy, what was your preference?
My preference is the biggest battery you can put in the car. Even the battery Tim's got down there is not near big enough. I've always been a fan of putting the largest battery you can. It's just like ballast anyway. And if you have a huge battery in there, it'll run the whole race without an all-day.
Andy, that's been the biggest mystery to me for a long, long time. These guys, it's monkey see, monkey do. They put one battery in that's tiny, and the rest of them feel like they need to do it. I got to agree. Give me a big, big battery that's going to last a long, long time.
For more information on batteries, log on to ESPN.com, search word Autotech. Let's go back down to Allen. A little strategy playing out in the pits.
Well, Jamie McMurray on the previous pit stop, Doc, they dropped the lug nut and lost track position, so he was back in 11th spot. They're going to come in and take 4 tires here, Mike.
And Tony Stewart's main complaint, tight on entry, and when he gets into the corner, it just washes out. They're going to take right side tires only and make a slight air pressure adjustment on the 20 car.
Thanks, guys. Rusty, you were very good at this racetrack, and tight on entry, something you hear a lot of drivers complain about over the years.
Yeah, tight on entry, that's not something you want. That means the front end's floating. You're turning the car, going in a corner, and it won't turn. It tries to slide the nose up. A sick feeling.
16 car, Greg Biffle up on Jeff.
Middle of the back.
Okay, what those guys are doing, there's an adjustment down there that you
talk to him, let him know, still got time.
You can adjust the actual steering of the rear end and the alignment of the rear end by a centric bolt that's in that right rear.
Down nice and easy, topped off. All right, here we go, 4,000.
So, Andy, is it possible when he hit the wall, the right rear axle housing got knocked backwards?
Well, I don't think he's hit the wall. I don't see any damage on the 16. I think this is just an adjustment that they're going to make. I think maybe they had that axle steered one way, and they're finding out that that's not working for them, so they're going to change it here.
How does that help the car handle?
Well, what you do is the rear wheels are, you would imagine them being straight in the car. Well, you can actually steer that rear end one way or the other and steer the back of the car a little bit. And maybe they had it steered one way or the other, and maybe they want to go back square, maybe they want to go the other way. I don't know exactly what they're doing. Hey, Jamie, you know more?
Well, Andy, you guys can certainly explain this better than I can. They moved the housing forward 1/8 of an inch. He's been complaining all night of his car being super loose, and they put some spring rubbers in on that last pit stop, but this was the latest in what they said. Maybe you can explain.
Yeah, what they're doing is steering that axle ahead, and that'll actually make the rear end of the car stay under him a little better. It'll steer the back of the car to the left a little bit, give the driver a little more security, and that's probably a really good adjustment for the problem they're having.
Now, when I used to do that, it would make me better getting at the corner and better off the corner, but sometimes in the center of the corner make the front end take off. So it's kind of give and take, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's probably just so loose he needs to do something. So it's probably a good adjustment. Be interesting to see if it works for him.
Remember, this is stop number 5 in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. How about the chase points as they run right now? Jimmy Johnson will be our points leader. Jeff Gordon in second. Boyer hanging on the third. Look at Kurt Busch all the way up in the 4th position. As these guys are shuffling the points here, remember, we got 5 more after this one to settle the 2007 NASCAR Nextel Cup champion. Matt Kenseth, the leader in the 17 car. The question is, how long will that battery last? You heard the report, 170 minutes on the backup battery. Will they be able to get it fixed? We'll follow the drama as it builds, but the pace car or pace truck.
Pace car's down. Pace car's off.
As he pulls off, we'll listen to the spotters as we go full throttle.
Ready. Be ready. Be ready. Green flag, green flag, green flag. Clear. Hold behind it there. Still outside, easy here, easy. Still outside. Still outside. Clear off. There you go, baby. Still there. Keep coming, you're kidding. Nobody from behind, go get these guys. Still got a nose. Clear. Attaboy. All clear. Just got one out there now. Outside the 7.
Folks, Matt Kenseth is leading, but that 8 car is setting sail. Look like he comes off a turn 2 like he's shot out of a cannon. Watch him come off the turn and just sail by the 49 car.
And Jerry, every single lap and every single restart, it seems like this 8 car's got so much confidence in the top of that track. He strikes like a rattlesnake, man. He jumps right on him and tries to get all he can right off the bat.
You see the 5 car up ahead of Junior. He's running that high line too. He ran behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. that last run for probably 40 or 50 laps, and he watched exactly what Junior was doing, and he learned from it.
More on Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Dave.
And guys, there's no question that Junior has been working on that high line, but he reported on it in his radio during this last caution period. This car will not work on the bottom. He experimented down there during the last run, lost a couple of positions. Looks like he's going to stay high all night on this track.
Right behind him, the 24 car. Whoa, little contact from Gordon in the back of the 8 car. Sort of moves him up out of the groove, and Gordon goes right on by.
It looked like he was going to try that bottom lane right as Dave finished up with that. And then when he did that, his car didn't get through the corner very well, and the 24 got into him. And they're future teammates,
Well, the thing I'm thinking about right now, his father, Dale Earnhardt Sr., told Dale Jr., don't take any crap from anybody. I bet that 8 car catches that 24 and pays it back.
You know what? I bet Dale Jr. getting that top groove and trying to run the 24 down. Remember, hey, by the way, the 24 car hasn't had real good luck here recently. 5 consecutive DNFs.
Well, that 8 car is a red car, and I'll guarantee you right now he's seeing red.
Here's what happened a moment ago. Watch the 8 pull down in the bottom groove.
That 8's not doing anything wrong. That 24 just didn't get out of the throttle and gave him a whack in the back of that car. Oh, man, if I'm Dale Jr., I'm hot right now.
You know what I'm doing? If I'm his crew chief, I'm going to try to get him calmed down. You're mad, so I know he's mad in the car.
I'm not even driving it thinking I'm mad.
I would say just calm down here a minute now. We don't want to tear the car up. Let's keep an eye on what we're trying to do here.
Remember now, he has nothing to lose. The guy in the 24 has a championship to lose. He's in the chase. Brad?
Yeah, absolutely. And as Dale Earnhardt Jr. runs that higher line, speaking about Jeff Gordon, I was actually talking to Steve Letarte earlier, and we were talking about the racetrack, and he says, you know, this race starts in the dark and it ends in the dark. The spring race, though, starts in the daylight, and the track is warm and it cools down, so it changes much more drastically during the spring race than it does now. So going back to Earnhardt Jr., that allows him to go ahead and find that groove up high and start out and stay there throughout the night. So watch for him to come to the front with some consistency as this race goes on.
Jimmie Johnson making his way back to the front. What else is new here at this racetrack? As he's back in 3rd spot, trying to move underneath Kurt Busch in the Dodge. Johnson right now at this point in the race is the points leader in the chase. Kurt Busch has climbed way up to 4th position in the chase. These guys now battling for 2nd position. Johnson on the bottom of the racetrack. Does he have enough momentum to get to the inside? Looks like he just might.
And right now, guys, it's a little too early for these guys to be racing each other side by side. Looks like Kurt Busch is maybe let 48 car Jimmie Johnson take the lead right now, tuck in behind him. Smart move right there.
87 of 334 laps in the books. Matt Kenseth, the leader. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Hi, I'm Matt Weiner in New York with this check of your prime time pulse on ESPN right now. SEC football, Auburn leads at Arkansas 3-0, while on ESPN2, Vandy trying to get back-to-back wins against Georgia for the first time since the 50s. Bulldogs have just tied it up at 17-all.
A lot of great college football going on. What's going on with the Georgia Bulldogs? Vanderbilt stepping up against the Dogs, and big upset today with Kentucky over LSU. And speaking of Bulldogs, this guy is absolutely just he's got him in his grip here. The 48 car of Jimmie Johnson again taking the lead, going by Kurt Busch. Busch back in 2nd, Kenseth 3rd. Here's how the pass occurred here. Watch the 48 car just sailing by.
He's definitely got a better car on the bottom of the racetrack, guys. All night long, we've been watching him run the bottom in the top. Now, we all know the fastest way around on a single lap's on the bottom. That's what he's doing right now.
His teammate, by the way, also a bit of a bulldog. Here's the bump a moment ago. Jeff Gordon into the back of the 8 car for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And that's the kind of bump that usually gets somebody turned around backwards. Junior's not very happy.
Let's hear what he had to say talking about Earnhardt Jr.
That 24 knows I can run him back down after about 30 laps. Tell him I ain't going to forget that.
Let me tell you, I could tell he was mad, man. I would be too. You just sit right there and wait for that big red bumper to approach you, Jeff Gordon, because I'm going to come get you, dude.
What do you think Big E would have said, Earnhardt Sr., if he were here watching this little contact? What would he have said?
He said, okay, guys, move over. Y'all settle this somewhere else. I got to go. Because he's still here. He'd be right there with him.
I guarantee you.
He would have flipped his radio switch, Jerry, and went to the 8 car. Dale Jr. said, hey, son, you're not going to take that, are you?
In spite of the fact these guys are going to be teammates in 2008. Here's the 07 Clint Boyer, who came in here third in the chase points. He currently sits third in the chase points.
Man, this guy's a real deal now. He's come in here and he said, I'm not an underdog. I'm gonna be a contender.
Got his very first career win, New Hampshire, race 1 of the chase in his 64th career start.
Guys, we keep talking about the 07 of Clint Boyer being an underdog and hanging in there, but don't count him out. Week after week, he keeps doing the same thing.
I think that's what fired this team up. They came into this chase at the bottom, and people thinking that, hey, they're just it's going to be an upset if they win it. And so they just want to go out there and prove to people how much they belong in here.
People chuckled about the 07. Hey, what are you doing in the chase? You haven't even won a race, but I guess they showed him, right, Dave?
Well, Crew Chief Gil Martin told me this morning that no one will ever know just how good this team really is. And that's just because Clint's a rookie. This is only his 68th start in Nextel Cup. And he doesn't provide all the feedback that a veteran like the guys in front of him, Kenseth or Busch, might provide. And so they said, what we've done with the limited information that Clint has been able to give us has been fantastic. The team behind him is doing as much as this talented driver is doing.
Man, look at that 07 on the bottom of the racetrack right now, running down Matt Kenseth. He has really got a good car.
And look behind him, the Zenith 5 car. Kyle Busch now moving up in the picture. Another one of the chase contenders.
The one thing I like about this 07 car is his car is fast on the bottom and the top. I saw him in that last run. As these tires wore down, he moved up next to the wall like Junior was, and he was making time up there too. But he's, Junior's the only one that he can only run the top. He can't run the bottom.
Top 6 cars right now are all in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. Jeff Gordon in 24 car trying to join the fray. There comes Gordon, running the bottom toward the middle of the racetrack.
Gordon seems to catch him just a little bit each lap, not much. And he's probably pedaling as hard as he can right now to get away from Junior.
I'd say he's motivated. He's got that thing in another gear right now.
Yeah, 2 goals. Get to the front and stay away from that 8 car. Now there comes Junior. He is actually in 7th position. He's the next car behind the 24 of Gordon. About a second differential between the 24 and the 8. Jimmy Johnson, our leader here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Jimmy has led 3 times for 41 laps, 102 laps in the books. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. The Bank of America 500. Brought to you by Chevy, an American Revolution.
And in the heart of NASCAR country, race 5 in the chase, the story in the FedEx Race Rundown. Kevin Harvick came in seated 5th, can't seem to buy a break in the chase. He diagnoses a flatus to pit twice.
Yeah, I actually picked the wrong side, Susie, and he's had troubles for the past several weeks. That too, Todd Berry and Kevin Harvick just cannot get a break, and it continues tonight here at Charlotte.
5-time winner here, Jimmy Johnson started 2nd, took the lead for the first time on lap 17. He's led 3 times for 41 laps. So dominant.
He is so dominant here. Jimmy Johnson, don't let the smooth taste fool you. This young man is an aggressive race car driver, and he flat drives that race car hard here at Charlotte.
And Jeff Gordon starts the night first in points and making his presence known. Dale Earnhardt Jr. moves into his groove and forget it.
I'll tell you what, he gives up and gives his next future teammate a little bump to get out of the way. Jeff Gordon's going to the front.
And it seems like it's just been a battle between Jimmy and Jeff. And sitting right there is Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart's laying back in the cut. He's back in the weeds waiting to strike. He needs to have a big night tonight to get himself up in the point position to be able to strike when these last 5 races come about.
Came into the night 154 points back. He's been the biggest mover tonight. Mike has more.
And it's been a huge project for this team all weekend long, Susie. I spoke with Greg Zipadelli this morning, and I asked him to grade his car on a scale of 1 to 10. He said it was a 5, so obviously not very happy. Had to make some serious changes to the front-end suspension after practice yesterday to get ready for this. Big problem for them, they were planning to bring the Kansas car, but they all but destroyed that out there with a crash. Instead, they're using a Pocono car that they're going to have to work on all night long, guys.
And right behind this, there's a 31 car. That's Jeff Burton, who did that great run here last night in the NASCAR Busch Series. Started last and went all the way to first, leading the final 61 laps. They've had their hands full this weekend with this car. In fact, they touched the wall with it in the final practice session yesterday.
Right now, he's got some pretty good lap times going on. I've been watching him lap after lap, and he's definitely not out of the hunt whatsoever. He's about a 10th off the leader. That's it. And every now and then he'll match the leader's speed, Andy, so he's got a pretty good handle car here.
Yeah, and you know Jeff Burton is going to be good here, but I just, it makes me wonder, why is Jeff Burton so good here? He's won the Busch race last night. I just wonder why he likes this racetrack so much.
Well, he's a veteran. I believe he really understands the track. He knows when to go and not to go. He knows how to get the car handling good.
He's a two-time winner at this racetrack in Cup competition, but he's really struggled in the 4 races of the chase. And we asked Jeff Burton to grade yourself in the chase thus far.
If you want me to give it a grade, it's really easy. I mean, we certainly get an F. I mean, it's not been good at all. We took off in New Hampshire, didn't run very well. Dover, we made something out of a day that wasn't very good, and then the next 2 races we blew up. So you can't have, essentially, we didn't have a DNF, but essentially two DNFs, and expect to compete in this thing.
Jeff Burton's 4 finishes in the chase: 8th at New Hampshire, 7th at Dover, 36th at Kansas City, and of course 43rd last week. The engine trouble he had at Talladega, that really wasn't of his doing. He had nothing he could do about that. He's a let's go early at Talladega. Pole sitter was Ryan Newman in the 12 car, his 7th career pole at this racetrack, and as you heard it in the pre-race show, he has never won here, being shown now back in the 8th position.
And Jerry, this is another driver who's got a pretty good run going right now. His lap times are pretty good, meaning about 1/10 of a second off the leaders. But the fellows that are really flying right now is his teammate. His teammate's about 2/10 faster, but Ryan needs to stay working on the car, and he will, and he'll get that speed picked up.
It has been 75 races since Ryan Newman has won his last victory, New Hampshire, back in September of 2005. Jimmy Johnson, the one there chasing. We'll come back for pit stops in just a moment. We welcome you back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. Beautiful Lowe's Motor Speedway here in Concord, North Carolina. Filled to capacity here for the Bank of America 500. Debris on the racetrack, bringing out caution for the 5th time tonight. And pit stops become the order of the day. Alan Bestwick.
Kurt Busch hits the first pit box on pit road. You see the catch can man stick the wrench in for a track bar adjustment to adjust the rear roll center of the car. 4 tire change for the 2. Jamie.
Jimmy Johnson came in. He said he's officially tight now. They're going to put a spring rubber in that right rear. They know it'll cost him a couple positions. 4 tires and fuel. Dave?
4 tires for Kyle Busch, whose car would not turn well. Wedge adjustment to their chassis to try to help him. Left side tires coming off and on. Drew tried to get their pumped up before he came down pit road. Pumped up going off, and that's a good stop for the 5.
Very good pit stops as they come out. There's the race off of pit road. Kenseth gains 3 spots. Kyle Busch, you talked about that great pit stop they had a moment ago. Jimmy Johnson back 4 positions. And of course, Kurt Busch losing a spot.
You see how critical it is. These pit stops are so competitive anymore on pit road. You just have to make that one adjustment like you saw the 48. He lost 4 spots.
Here's the debris coming off the 70 car. Now, the Johnny Sauter car, there it comes sailing out of the back of the 70. Another piece coming off the front. And that, of course, put out the caution here for the 5th time. Back with more after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Behind the passing combination of Eli Manning to Plexico Burris, the Giants have won back-to-back games. The big sack combo of O.C. Umenyiora and Michael Strahan. Visit the Falcons at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
Thanks, Mike. What a combination. Eli to Plexico Burris. 7 of the 9 touchdown passes Eli Manning has thrown this year have gone to Plexico Burris, and now tied with for the NFL league with Randy Moss. 7 receptions for a touchdown playing the Falcons. Mike, Jaws, and Tony will be there on Monday night for Monday Night Football. Getting set for the restart here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. After pit stops for the entire field, caution number 5 came out for debris off the 70 car. Johnny Sauter, if you just joined our coverage, pace truck pulls away. Matt Kenseth in the 17 car will lead him down to the restart. It is Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the big Budweiser Chevy sitting back in 4th spot. Kansas pulling by about 3 car lengths down from Kyle Busch. Kurt Busch, the older brother, right behind Kyle. Then behind him, Earnhardt Jr.
Well, I was just waiting for the 8 car to catch a 24, and they had a much better pit stop, beat him out of the pit, so the payback's going to have to come later right now because he just had a better pit crew that time.
Rusty, the 8 car now on the bottom of the racetrack instead of going way up high where he was earlier.
Well, right now he's got some pretty good grip in the tires, and it's not much longer before he gets back to the top. But right now, a couple laps on the bottom, a couple to the top. But take a look at the 2 brothers, Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch, bumper to bumper. Both cars running good tonight.
Kurt saying, I love you, brother, but see you.
I remember one time in the All-Star race, they didn't love each other too much.
Yeah, this was a matter of brotherly shove. These 2 in the All-Star race. Watch the contact between the 5 and the 2.
Man, you talk about aggressive move right there. You'd have thought that maybe Kurt could have cleared him, but his brother just barely got him in the left rear quarter panel. So why are they driving so hard here? It was no points. It was all for money. No patience in this race, but they need to have patience here tonight.
Neither one of them were very happy after that. It took them a while to get that one worked out inside the family, much less outside. The 8 and 48 here, Earnhardt Jr. trying to hold off the challenge of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. And the 07 of Clint Bowyer making a move back here as well.
Clint Boyer's doing exactly what he needs to do, Jerry. He's just hanging in there. He's running fast lap speeds. Got the car competitive, and he's working on it every single pit stop, staying up with the track.
Didn't take Junior long to get back up to his top groove here. He ran just a few laps on the bottom, but he's moved up top now. And you can see his 48. Man, that thing works so good on the bottom.
Yeah, how good is that 48 car? And Jimmy Johnson just turns it down across the race. It looked like he was going to make the move with ease, but then Earnhardt Jr. stayed in that high groove and now pulls back away.
You know, when I drove the cars, the last time I drove here at Charlotte, Jerry, I always loved the bottom of the track. Never could feel comfortable like Junior's feeling on the top side. You know, it's that's kind of no man's land up there. If you get too close and you slip, you're going to hit that wall. I never could get comfortable with that part.
38 car had a near miss a moment ago. David Gilliland, that's the Robert Yates owned car, and just nearly spun out. We saw a bit of a puff of smoke out of the back of the car. Here's what happened to 38 a moment ago. Way up or up behind Bobby Labonte.
And man, that was a good job holding on to that car. He almost got Bobby Labonte in the left rear quarter panel, checked up and held on.
Watch this move by Tony Stewart to avoid this. Oh, baby.
Hold it. Good job. 31 inside. Bender in there.
Good job by Gilliland.
Alan?
And Doc, this car has been having a terrific run all race long, and it's very timely for this race team. Robert Yates Racing has been one of NASCAR's legendary teams for years, but they've fallen on some hard times where performance is concerned this year. And Robert is giving up the team to his son Doug at season's end and retiring. Well, they don't have a sponsor for next year. Even though Gilliland is under contract, they don't have any backing for this race team. These final races of this season are their audition to try and get backing for next season for Doug Yates to take this 2-car operation and continue his father's legacy. Until that bobble, they've been in the top 10 almost the entire race.
Great point, Alan. Doug Yates certainly has a big job ahead of him. A lot of question marks yet with regard to what's going to happen in 2008 with soon-to-be just Doug Yates Racing.
Dodged a major bullet there when that car got sideways and didn't hit the wall, so they've got time to get going back here. Still running the top 20. He'll be fine.
One guy we haven't seen much of tonight is Carl Edwards. It looks like he's got a pretty good car, too, now. He's starting to get this thing tuned up, and it's coming around. And he looks like he's just loving the bottom of the track now. A little bit different than everybody else.
He is a little different. He's running right on that white line. Here we go with the 8 car way up top. Clint Bowyer now on the bottom.
You know, I've said this about this 8 car a couple times, that he loves the top of the racetrack, and there's no room up there, and you think he's going to hit that wall every now and then. But boy, that's I don't like having no room for an error.
Rusty, from a driver's standpoint, is it more physically challenging to run that groove that Earnhardt Jr. is trying to hang on to up there?
Well, Jerry, absolutely. You're mentally focused so much going every single time you get in the corner. Okay, get it in there. Keep it off the wall a little bit, but keep it high. It's a lot of thinking going on these kids doing right now, and this is a tough groove to run.
Dave Burns?
He is inches away from that wall. I listened to you guys talk earlier about how he's sort of like the old man when he got angry there. Well, something else he did this weekend that was a lot like the way his father used to run. Rusty, you ran all the minutes of practice. His dad would sometimes quit early when his car was real good, but Junior has not been like that. And crew chief Tony Gibson told me that yesterday he quit both practices early. On the second practice, he said, I don't know what more we can do to this car. It's pretty good. So quitting early, another Earnhardt trade he might be picking up.
That's the reason I felt like Dale Earnhardt Jr. was going to be the man to beat tonight, because he did quit early, and that's always a sign of having a good race car.
Look who's coming here. Earnhardt Jr. glances in the mirror, sees the 24 car closing in on him.
I'd tell Jeff Gordon, be careful what you wish for here. You want to catch this car and pass him, but man, you better be careful.
Yeah, he may want to get down on that yellow line. Just forget that white line. Get all the way down to where the grass is. Here, speaking of going down on the white line, here's the 48 of Jimmy Johnson trying to make the pass for second spot.
And Kurt Busch, he's just bolted that number 2 Miller Lite car to the top of the wall, and he's been staying there every single lap. That's a corner that he just feels comfortable with, staying on the top. And we're going to watch Jimmy Johnson now. I bet he tries a little lower, tries the middle, tries the bottom. Jimmy's been all over this racetrack. He's got probably the best handling car out here.
I bet you're going to be able to drive a Mack truck between that 24 and 8 when he passes him. He's not going to get too close. The one thing you're seeing right here, though, is these guys that run the bottom are really good on these short runs right after they go back green on these good tires. But as they run about 30, 40 laps, like we heard Junior say a while ago, that top groove starts coming in and these guys start coming back.
24 now right on the rear deck of the 8 car. Does the 8 go high and the 24 go low? Yes.
Yeah, I kind of predicted you see a lot of room between these two guys.
I got to believe the 8's going to want to stay in front of the 24 for a while. Yeah, he just drives it off the corner.
He's not going to make it easy on Gordon. He's not going to go down there and run that groove again, though. He's not going to pull down that bottom groove like he did before.
Well, the only thing that's going to keep these two away from each other is if Jeff Gordon got on the radio and said, tell him I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I apologize. And he probably did that.
Would that make any difference to you if a guy hit you and got you sideways and then apologized?
Man, I'd probably say, yeah, right.
Yeah, I got to believe Jeff Gordon is the kind of guy that would do that, though. Yeah, you'd beg for forgiveness later. Whoa, trouble, the 7 car. Robbie Gordon has had contact with the wall.
All right, straight, right there, straight.
Parts and pieces coming off of his Ford as it spins around and gets both sides. And that will bring out caution for the 6th time today here on lap 136.
And this is something this team of Robbie Gordon does need to happen. He's really hoping he can keep this car in the top 35 in the points. He's pretty good right now, but if he keeps making mistakes like this car could get out of the top 35 in the point standings, and that could mean trouble.
Remember, the top 35, you're guaranteed to start the first 5 events of 2008, which includes the 50th running of the Daytona 500. Here's what happened to Robbie Gordon.
At turn 4, got another car. Just like you predicted, Rusty, this one treacherous corner.
Well, Andy, I'm not going to take the credit for that one because they've crashed so many times off of turn 4. I think everybody in the grandstands knows what's going to happen there now, so we're all ready and watching that corner.
Talking about how Calamity Corner has been such a challenge here for Busch and Cup. You see there turn 4, 12 cautions, the last 3 Charlotte races, 63 laps in just the turn 4 area in the transition to the front straightaway. Look at all the scrapes on the wall there. Humpy's going to have to repaint that and put the numbers and letters back on the wall. He might have had to repaint it from last night.
Well, these fans of these grandstands love this action. Whether it's passing or crashing, it's what they're here for to watch.
That's why they jam in here. They love this racetrack, and it's always a great show here for the NASCAR Nextel Cup stars. Pit stops. Repairs on the 7 car. Alan?
Kurt Busch is into the first stall on pit road. Going to be a 2-tire stop because only 15 green flag laps of racing. Let's see how other teams react to that. Jamie?
And Jimmy Johnson, very technical on his diagnosis of the car. He said it's very forgiving. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, a wedge adjustment, and take right sides only. Let's go to Dave Burns.
5 car talking 2 as well. Time the gas if you're going to do that, and go.
And Andy, the thing I'm seeing right now, a lot of these 2-tire changes, and as these guys are pulling out, guys are still coming in and almost crashing.
How about Boyer up 4 spots? There's Burton up 7 positions. Jeff Burton getting up in the fray here from that poor qualifying effort. He can be a factor like he was last night from the last to the first. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Weiner here in New York, here to keep you up to date throughout the evening. Time for this Sports Center Minute powered by Vizio. Let's begin with college football. Number 1 LSU has already lost a bombshell on Bluegrass, where Kentucky came from 13 down to tie up LSU and beat the Tigers in triple overtime. Their first win over number 1 team since '64. Meanwhile, in LA, Mark Sanchez helped USC to a win at his first college start. His first career touchdown pass to Fred Davis put the Trojans up for good against Arizona. And on ESPN, Auburn leads Arkansas at the half 3-0. On ESPN2, Colorado and Kansas State just about to kick off. Guys?
Thank you very much. A season of upsets in college football. We've had some upsets here in NASCAR as well. And how about a #1 getting knocked off by a Cinderella team, Kentucky, coming from 13 behind. Under caution here, lap 136, the 7 car. Robbie Gordon having contact with the wall. Leaders have been on and off of pit road, are lining up and getting set for the restart.
Here in the 25 car, he's got to go to the back of the pack for a violation in the pits. It's a big loss for that team, but he can make it back to the front. So the crew got over the wall a little too early, and NASCAR don't like that.
7 of the top 8 are in the chase, led by Clint Boyer, who took fuel only in the 07 car. He will lead him down to the restart. Sailing by Biffle in the 16 and the 9 of Casey King. High side to 31 of Burton. Last night's winner, he's in 5th spot, looking back at the 8 car in 6th position, Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, you got to hand it to the 31 car, Jeff Burton. He has had a good handle on car now. Been in the hunt. He probably learned a lot in last night's Busch Series race. Lap times are good, and he's staying in front of the junior right now.
We told you there was the contact between the 24 and the 8 earlier. Let's listen into some of the radio communication. Here's the 24 car of Jeff Gordon.
Get me ahead of that 8. Man, I do not want to have to race him tonight. Hey, there's a car behind me. Damn, CJ.
You got to love it. And Jeff Gordon says, get me in front of that guy. Well, who's going to drive the car to do that? He's got to do that himself. He's just probably wanting some help from the spotter.
Up front at the 2 car. For more information on radio communications, log on to ESPN.com. Search word communications. You got to love those radio communications. Now, you lived it for many, many years, Rusty, when you get in the car.
Well, when you're in the seat and you're a little frustrated, you got to tell somebody and ask for some help. And it's usually your crew chief or your spotter you're referring to.
Tony Stewart, there's Tony riding along with him as he moves in and tries to take the spot away from the 24 car. That's 8th position.
Like Jeff Gordon thought about making it 3 wide, now does make it 3 wide.
They go by either side of the 45 of Kyle Petty. Kyle, by the way, a former winner here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Kyle was a meat and a sandwich on that one right there. He had to get out of there quick because these guys they mean business. It's 20 and 24. They're trying to get some ground made up.
See our telemetry right here. There's 7,900 coming off the corner. These cars don't just look fast. They are fast at this racetrack. 195, 98 miles an hour get down in the corner.
Earlier in our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge, we asked you which former NASCAR Nextel Cup champion has the best chance to catch points leader Jeff Gordon. How did you vote? Johnson, Stewart, Kurt Busch, Kenseth? Wow, Tony Stewart gets 33%. Pretty close, though. Jimmy Johnson got 30%, and then Kenseth up 32%. So very, very close among those 3 guys.
That was a pretty tough one right there. All 4 of them are really good cars. But you know what? Popularity comes into this vote a lot. A lot of people liking how Tony Stewart's driving in this controversy. Mike?
And really no surprise the way Tony's driving right in the middle of this championship chase, Rusty. Really hard and aggressive. He said before this race that he's going for broke. He faced a huge points deficit, 154 points back, but was drawing some clear inspiration from what Jimmy Johnson did a year ago, rallying in the last 5 races to win the championship. They've been fighting a tight condition all evening long, but making incremental changes with wedge and air pressure adjustment, and suddenly it appears the 20 car has come to life, guys.
These guys were really not where they needed to be in the practice sessions. Matter of fact, somebody told me Tony Stewart sat in his car for quite a while after the practice practice was over, just sitting in there trying to figure out what they needed to do, because they went back and made a bunch of changes. And we heard them talk about before the race that they knew they weren't going to be just right, but they were going back to some stuff that they knew worked, and they may have to adjust on the car. Man, it's come to life now.
Well, Andy, in the countdown show before this race, I think that's what you're referring to. You know, I never heard Tony Stewart really act like that before. Kind of unsure. We tried a lot of different things. Let's hope it works. And he said that later on in the race is when he feels like the car is going to be the very best.
He was aggressive, too. He passed that 12 car, man. I thought he was going to get inside of him. I don't believe I want to get too close to that guy right now.
What a chase. 8 of the top 10 drivers right now are chase contenders. The only 2 in the top 10 who aren't in the chase, Ryan Newman in 7th. Now, of course, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. right there with him in 8th position. Back up front, Jimmy Johnson trying to go back around the dodge of Kurt Busch, and Kurt says, not so fast, my friend. Whoa, the sandwich of Newman racing all over as they go by the 24 car. That is for 7th spot.
You see Carl Edwards now kind of sneaking up in his mechs. He's been working on his car throughout the night, getting it better and better. We're watching a monitor here upside our ABC booth. And he keeps getting quicker every time also. Every pit stop, car goes faster.
How about Kurt Busch not letting Jimmy Johnson retake the lead too easily, battling back and just pulling back in front of him?
I think he knows every lap that he keeps him back there that, you know, he doesn't let Jimmy Johnson get out there and get a big lead on him. This will change over. This outside groove will come around, and it'll be faster after they run about 30 laps. And so you see now Jimmy Johnson gets him cleared.
Right now, Jimmy Johnson would be our chase points leader, and Kurt Busch would actually gain 2 spots all the way up to 5th position. Right side of your screen, battle for 7th again. Look at the 99 just come sailing in there, Carl Edwards.
And that's what Carl Edwards' car looked like last night in the Busch Series race, just right on the bottom of the track, fast as lightning, and just kept getting faster, it seemed like, Andy, with every turn of the wheel.
152 laps of 334. We're moving toward the halfway point. Jimmy Johnson, our leader. Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, trouble for one of our chase contenders and one of the top cars here tonight, the 17 of Matt Kenseth. Hard contact into the wall. Alan, what happened?
Matt had come on the radio since the restart, Doc, and talked about being way out of control with the back end of the car. He's talked about possibly having a problem. Now he's called in and said he thinks the right rear was going down for that spin. The car being so loose, meaning the back end is out of control that he can't drive it. And so Matt Kenseth's day has gone from bad to considerably worse here.
Matt Kenseth had back-to-back 35th place finishes, then 26 last week. 17 car damage. You see Robbie Reiser there talking to Matt. Just a few laps earlier, watch the 17 car. Got a little sideways in the corner.
Man, he's chasing.
Whoa. Well, that is big loose right there. Looks like he might have started feeling something right there. It looks like the right rear tire's still up, though.
Now watch him just trying to hang on to it here. And this one, it was just no way of catching it.
Gosh, right up there at the exit of turn 4 again. Let's follow along here with him. Looks like he's starting to get loose as the car goes towards the flat of the front straightaway.
Stay on it. On that brake.
Oh.
Wow.
In the straightaway. He almost had it saved. He spun it off. This is a big hit for Matt Kenseth. He's all the way down to 12th in the points right now. And our monitors will show him 417 points behind. Alan.
Well, Kurt Busch is going to pit from 2nd place, and this time they're going to take 4 tires and gasoline, get the car set up for a long run. They've tried to keep this car up in good track position all night with 2 tire stops a couple times. We'll see what happens further down pit road. There are the 4 tires going on this 2 car. Mike?
Greg Zipadelli just asked Tony Stewart if he could do any more for him to help him with the tight condition, and Tony said, no, we need to keep it the way it is. No adjustments, just 4 tires and fuel. Let's go to Jamie.
Jimmy Johnson said his car is still tight. You're seeing them right there. They're working extra long. They're putting another spring rubber in, costing him another couple of spots, perhaps, and 4 tires. Dave?
Clint Boyer said the car is fine, don't touch it. Well, they did. They put on 2 right side tires, filled it full of fuel. Doc, how they do race off pit road.
Boyer with those 2 right side tires. You heard from Dave, gains a couple of spots. Bobby Labonte up 13 positions. McMurray up 14 spots. And you see Mark Martin gaining 10 positions. Some tire strategy And we'll find out how they gained those spots, because you heard Andy Petrie talk at the top of the show. Pit strategy could be critical to get your driver up in the chase in the hunt. We'll find out what they did when we come back after these messages and a word from our ABC station. This telecast is available on ABC HD, presented by DLP HD TV. Under caution for the 7th time tonight. Wondering how some of these cars gained so many spots like Jamie McMurray? Let's show you exactly what happened on pit road, courtesy of Michael Klein, his Jackman wearing our crew cam.
See the Jackman jack up the right side, and you're going to see what they did to get this track position. It's actually what they didn't do. They didn't change left side tires. Down and away.
Also only taking 2 tires. Mark Martin who gained a bunch of spots. And Bobby Labonte, also in the 43 car, only changed 2 tires all the way up to 2nd position. So it is Boyer the leader, Bobby Labonte driving for the King, Richard Petty in 2nd spot, Martin 3rd, Kurt Busch 4th, and Jamie McMurray in 5th spot. Some of the guys have 2 tires, we told you, some of them have 4. Let's see how they can hang on. Pace car pulling away as we listen in and go full throttle to the spotters.
Pace car's off. Get ready. Be ready. Let's be ready. 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 Green flag, green flag, green flag. Looking inside, looking inside, Good job, Jack. Be ready for some more action here. Go after me. There. Clear low, keep it. Watch your outside. Clear right now, clear, still clear.
Boyer's got his hands full. Bobby Labonte up high. How about the 8 car of Earnhardt? He is in the fray as well.
Oh man, I tell you, these restarts, I just love watching them, because every time these guys go, Earnhardt goes to the top and just scrapes along that wall, passes those cars. It does look like rush hour, Andy.
Inside the 25. Good job, Mr. Lumber. All clear.
Casey Mears, who won here back in May in the 25 car on the bottom, running just about even with Earnhardt Jr. 4th position. That's for 13th spot. Whoa, right up in front of Earnhardt Jr., John Andretti in the 49 car.
That's a good way to get crashed right there.
Wow. And 8 car Dale Jr., he's got to give him a break. The 49 and Andretti's car's a little loose right now. He's got to get off his bumper. Guy's doing all he can do. He just needs to get out of the way right now and just can't seem to get down.
Junior's going to move him if he does it again.
Pretty good battle here. The 20 car of Stewart and the 5 car of Kyle Busch. That is for 7th position, and Stewart takes it away. More on Kyle Busch with Dave.
And guys, Kyle Busch has been running the low line and the high line. The car works in both situations. Here's what he said on his radio just a little bit ago about how to strategize with that.
I know I can go faster on the top right now, but when I do that, I always over-push the right front and build it up and kill it. As long as I stay patient and ride the bottom, keep the right front fire, and then when all those guys go to hit, I go to the top. And whoop on them. I like it. I like it. Man with a plan.
That's right, the crew likes it. Now, the last run wasn't long enough to employ that strategy completely, but they are going to monitor that, and KB knows he can go high late if he wants to.
Sounds like a man with a plan.
Yeah, I like the way he's thinking right now, Kyle Busch. He's running many restarts right now. He's run some runs. He keeps seeing the same trend happen with this car. He said, okay, finally I've got this thing figured out. I'm going to take care of that right front tire and use it when I need to. And the reason we're talking about the right front tire, that's the one that always gets abused the most.
There's a lot more to being a great race car driver than just being able to stand on the gas and turn the steering wheel. You got to be able to think about what's going on the racetrack while you're doing that.
Well, Andy, time after time, if you keep having problems with the same thing, you're not going to keep doing it again. And he's realized what happened.
21 car, Bill Elliott. See the 11 car on the right side of your screen. Denny Hamlin. Trying to take the high side to go by Scott Riggs for position.
Haven't talked about Denny Hamlin much tonight. He's in a 16th position, trying to get that car to the front. He's another fella where the car hasn't handled too good tonight, and he's had to stay working on it throughout the night.
Hamlin was the big gainer at Talladega in terms of the chase points. He finished 4th at Talladega and moved up 3 spots all the way to 9th. Still got quite a ways to go.
Just splitting these cars here, going 3 wide. Pretty racy.
Jeff Green, you just saw on the left of your screen, the 66 car had a really good run last week at Talladega. And by the way, they gave him a lap back here just a little while ago during one of the caution flags because they had held him and he got a lap down. NASCAR gave it back to him on the racetrack.
That's pretty gracious. That usually doesn't happen with NASCAR. I mean, if they know they're dead wrong, they'll do it. But
it never happened with me, I can tell you that.
Fourth place, Jimmy Johnson going by Mark Martin. Remember, Martin only got 2 tires on that pit stop.
But Martin needed to do this. Mark did a smart move right there, him and his team, by just getting the track position, getting the car up front right now, because he was kind of in the back of the pack, and he's in 5th right now, and it's a smart move.
31 and 12. This is for 10th position. Jeff Burton trying to move to the outside and go around our pole sitter, Ryan Newman, and he will take that spot away.
Now, if I was Ryan Newman, I'd be down in Kurt Busch's pits talking to the guys. What kind of air pressure are you guys running? Obviously, the 2 car seems to be running faster than 12 right now. And that's where teamwork can really come into play. Trying to get the car adjusted to get it as quick as your teammate.
It's like Johnson's got his car adjusted up right. Doesn't seem to matter if he goes back in this traffic. He can just pick them off one at a time and get back up to the lead just like he was.
The guys all night long. We haven't seen the 2 car out of the top 5. He's been in the top of that racetrack consistently throughout the night and been in this hunt throughout the night.
How good is Jimmy Johnson? Check out our sprint speed lap, and you see that he's, as typical, sprinting back toward the front. Last lap for Johnson, 181.580, and the leader's last lap, that was Clint Boyer, still just under 180 miles an hour.
Won't be long, he'll have that lead back. Clint Boyer's doing a great job leading the race. Bobby Labonte is 2nd. These guys, the Clint Boyer car got 2 tires on that last pit stop. Seems to be working fine for him.
Yeah, and that's the main reason the 48 car is running down 07 car at Clint Boyer now, because just better tires.
Clint Boyer, the newcomer to the chase, sitting 3rd in chase points, but right now sitting 1st in the lead here in the Bank of America 500.
We come back to the track under caution after Elliott Sadler has crashed. We'll show you that in a moment. First, here are the leaders on pit road and another round of strategy since it's only been a little while since they were here before. Kurt Busch, right side tires only on the 2. He'll have to dodge the traffic still coming in as he goes out. Mike?
And a gutsy move already being made by Greg Zipadelli. Fuel only on the 20 car. And a near collision on pit road with Tony Stewart and Paul Menard.
And Jimmy Johnson's in there taking a rubber out. 4 tires for him. He said that his fender's hitting the track on the right side just a bit. Dave?
You can see it on the bottom of the triple split. No tires for Clint Boyer this time. Just top it off with fuel. Car's good, he said.
Guys, the contact there with a 20 and 9 on pit road as Casey Kane was trying to get in and a 20 was trying to get out, and there's damage on the right front of the 20 car of Tony Stewart. There he comes off of pit road. See the damage where the contact was on the right front.
I was knocked out.
Now watch what happens in this pit stop.
He's coming out of the pits just getting fuel. This is always risky. And you see, ooh, real close call. Got a little damage from this little contact and then pulls back out and then hits the 9 car.
And that is the problem by making such a fast pit stop. Everybody's trying to pit. Tony's in and out, and these guys are trying to get in their pits. And then you think that's bad. Here it comes again. Tony's like, I feel like a pinball out here. This is unbelievable.
Bobby Labonte got pinned in his pit also.
Now the big question is how much damage on the right front of that 20 car. See, they finally get Casey King's car in the pits, and now Tony gets his refired and pulls away. Now the reason for this yellow flag, way ahead of the 31 car. Look up there, you'll see the 19 car of Elliott Sadler. Just get up and just pop the wall in turns 1 and 2.
Elliott just got in turn 1 too hot. Just looks like he overdrove the corner just a little bit. Got the rear end off underneath him. And there's no grip in these cars, guys. A real hard tire. Pretty nice track. But it leads to no grip.
Andy, how bad's the damage?
Well, the body damage is obvious. They got to come in here and beat that out, try to get that fender clear. But I heard him say that his toe end was off. He probably looked at his steering wheel and the spokes were off, so he knows that something's been in the steering.
You see him shaking his head right now with disgust, like, I can't believe that happened. And Greg's probably beating himself up. Greg Zipadelli is crew chief, because that's the only eyes Tony's got on the track when he's pitting.
He came in here 4th in the chase. He dropped a spot right now to 5th in the chase. Remember, he had a tire rubbing at Kansas City that didn't come in quick enough and get it off the fender, and it cost him dearly. Back in a moment.
why he didn't stop.
We need to come back.
Right side and fix the fender. Don't worry about the left side. Get that fender out. Make sure it's not going to rub.
Hayes vehicle pulling away, getting ready to restart the Bank of America 500 after a caution on lap 175 due to the spin for Elliott Sadler. 07, Clint Boyer comes down. Remember, he took fuel only on that pit stop. As you look from the onboard of Kevin Harvick and watch the 5-car of Kyle Busch trying to make a move. Remember, Harvick, who just joined our coverage, had unscheduled stops early on for what was a problem with a left side tire. He lost 3 laps by virtue of 2 pit stops that changed rights first and then four tires the second time in.
The only way this 29 car is going to get back on the lead lap, he's going to race by these leaders. He's not going to get any lucky dogs. He's 3 laps down, so he's got to get some of these back the old-fashioned way, and that's past that leader.
You know, going back to the 20 car a little bit with Greg Zipadelli sitting up on top of the pit box, watching his driver sitting still in the pits. And that's a really team effort. The only thing Tony heard was probably go, go, go. And Greg was probably thinking, gosh, I wish he'd stop. I wish he'd just stop and not go. And so Greg's probably beating himself up right now thinking I should have told my driver not to go because the 15 was coming in. And then as he took off, here comes a 9 car, stop again. And Tony just can't see that. He didn't see the right side of the 15. And he didn't see the 9 car coming. So, but knowing this team, they're saying, look, let's brush it off. It's a team effort. Brad?
Yeah, Rusty, and maybe that's an incident, too, in qualifying. You know, Tony qualified 29th, being way back there in the pit box. Maybe it's an opportunity that came about because of poor qualifying. What do you think?
Well, I think he got himself up to the front there pretty good, Brad, up in the top 10. And, you know, honestly, I just think that's probably just a mistake. I mean, when you make pit stops this fast, Andy, and you've stopped the car, and you're that much quicker, and everybody's coming in, and you're trying to get out, disaster.
Yeah, but I think if he had qualified, say, up on the pole or in the front row, he'd have got a spot on pit road where he had an opening, and that would have helped him avoid something like this. So
absolutely.
Qualifying does come into play in a situation like this.
Absolutely.
Jimmy Johnson now going by Kyle Busch to take the second spot away. And not only, by the way, did that pit stop or pit incident cost a 20 car of Tony Stewart, it also cost the 43 car, Bobby Labonte, who was boxed in and couldn't get out. And Labonte now way back in 25th after running in the top 10 for most of the evening.
He was just a victim in that whole thing because he saw all the contact from the cars. He didn't get any contact, but he just had to sit there and spectate and wait till this all sorted out.
184 laps in the books. We are past the halfway point here. 334 laps make up 500 miles at Lowe's Motor Speedway. The 07, Clint Boyer is the leader. Remember, Clint only took fuel only. The 48 of Jimmy Johnson is about to be the leader as he goes to the high side.
We see him experiment with that top groove a little bit here now, taking the lead on the high side. We haven't seen this in a while out of this 48.
I believe if I was Jimmy Johnson, I'd be trying the top just a little bit. If he doesn't like this, doesn't have to run up there.
I haven't seen a square inch of this racetrack that 48 car doesn't like.
Well, one thing you got to remember, the fastest way around a racetrack is on the bottom. That's the reason they qualify on the bottom of the track, because it's just a farther distance on the top. But when the tires wear out, the top tends to be better.
Getting ready to mix it up back here for third position, the 5 of Kyle Busch, the 2 of Kurt Busch, and the 24 of Jeff Gordon. Remember, the 29 car is a lap car, Kurt Busch, but he's running awfully well, about the same speed as these cars that are running back in 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Looks like Kevin Harvick's going to yield to these lead lap cars. He gave it a shot on the restart. Man, Busch is way up on that racetrack. Kyle Busch.
Chase ticker toward the top of your screen. Now, the very top ticker obviously is running position here at the racetrack. Beneath that in the chase. Kyle Busch, remember he had a plan about moving that groove up once he took care of that right front tire.
It's like he said, to heck with that right front tire. He's going to go ahead and run up there now. Dave?
And last night before the Busch race, Kyle Busch was asked who he might put money on if he had to in the Busch race, and he said Jeff Burton, who started last. Guess who won? Jeff Burton. So today they asked, Kyle, would you bet on anybody today? And he wouldn't predict anyone. But he said, I've got a really good race car, and he's proven that all night long. On that last stop, just 2 tires on his car, and running well, guys.
He is running well. He's been consistent all night long. He's talked about how moving to the top of the racetrack has hurt his right front tire. I don't think he's got an option right now. I think it's probably the only area he can run fast like he needs to run, and that's on the top.
Well, trouble on the racetrack to 21. Bill Elliott, former Cup champion, has had hard contact with the outside wall.
That turn 4 has been another one.
Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, 1988 Cup Series champion. Running a part-time schedule in the 21 car for the Wood Brothers, and pretty hard contact. Take a look.
Oh, looks like he got a little help right here. Casey Mears got a little bit loose.
And Casey Mears got some damage in his car also. Got the right front knock, right side knocked in on the 25 car, Casey Mears, and Bill Elliott. Just a lot of damage. This is probably going to end his night, this crash.
Remember, this team was trying to get the top 35 in owners' points. A couple laps ago, watch Casey Mears' car have some contact there. Could he have had a tire going down after that little bump?
Oh, he had already been in the wall, so he had some problems brewing. Looks like Bill Elliott was just a victim. Yeah, you see sparks flying out from the 25. Looks like he may have had a tire going down. And
yeah, there was absolutely nothing intentional right there. When sparks are flying out from under your car and you're going at a competitor on the top side, you're out of control. You can't steer the car. So Casey Mears obviously was in trouble before he got to Bill Elliott.
Had the Cinderella story back in May, picking up his very first ever NASCAR Nextel Cup win here. From 16th starting spot, led the final 6 laps. Let's talk about who among these leaders will come on the pit road here, guys. They're up perched on the pit wall. Andy, what will you do?
That's a hard one right here. This is why these guys make the big bucks. Seems like they go about 10 or 12, 14 laps, have a caution, and these guys have to come down and kind of reset. But what they're going to do is you don't know who's going to get 2, who's going to get fuel, who's going to get 4.
Let's go down to Alan Bestwick.
Going to be a fuel-only stop for Kurt Busch and his crew chief Pat Bryson, warning him about incoming traffic to keep him from getting torn up on pit road. Jamie?
Jimmie Johnson said he was really comfortable that last stint. He said he'll end up snug, but they're coming in for fuel only. He's down and away. Dave?
Time for fresh rubber on the 07. It'll be 4 this time. They went 0, 2, and 0, so they will lose track position now to get fresh rubber on the 07 car for Clint Boyer. Look at all the cars going by.
Race off of pit road, but more importantly, another chaser getting damage on the right front fender. You see Jeff Gordon gains a spot, Newman up 4, Hamlin up 5, Riggs +7 now. But watch the 2 car, the right front fender of Kurt Busch as he's trying to leave.
That's the problem with that first pit stall. You get in there and get your work done, and you're coming out while these other guys are still coming in.
Pat Trosson was trying to guide him out as they're reacting. Oh my gosh, we got hit. Damage on the right front of the 2 car. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Back in New York, I'm Matt Weiner with a check of your primetime pulse on ESPN. Auburn still clinging to a 3-0 lead at Arkansas. That game now in the 3rd quarter. Colorado and Kansas State, the Big 12. Wildcats lead at 10-0. James Johnson with the only touchdown of the game. Jimmie Johnson leading at Charlotte.
And Jimmie Johnson has led much of the night. This well could be the Jimmie Johnson Invitational every time you come to Lowe's. And our aerial coverage is brought to you by the Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. The last 9 races here at Lowe's have been won by Jimmie Johnson. You know, when the night began, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Gordon led the battle for the chase by 9 points ahead of his teammate Jimmie Johnson. They have flipped positions at the moment. And this, of course, Jimmy's private playground. But Clint Boyer still third. Who would have thought almost halfway through the chase, Dr. Jerry Punch, that Clint Boyer would be a serious contender as we go green?
Randy could be the Cinderella story here. We see a lot of Cinderella stories in sports. We've seen him in college football this year. 5-time winner, Jimmie Johnson, leading him down. 4-time Charlotte winner. Jeff Gordon, his teammate in 2nd spot. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, back in the 12 car. Denny Hamlin is there in the 11. McMurray back in 5th spot. Here's Kevin Harvick's car. Again, if he just joined our coverage, he had 2 unscheduled pit stops in the first 30 laps. Cost him 3 laps because of a tire going down. Harvick being shown in 35th position, 3 laps behind. Update you on the 2 car. Remember the incident on pit road with Kurt Busch trying to leave, and there was contact between him and the car right in front of him right now, the 0-1 of Mark Martin.
Well, take a look at the right front fender of the 2 car. They've worked on it, but the car's starting to spark right now, Andy. Looks like maybe the nose is bent down. Cause that. Hold on, Hot Rod. He's overdriving the thing a little bit. He's probably frustrated.
Yeah, he's back in the 24th spot here, and I know he's frustrated because of this contact. He's got to keep that car straight. He's going to have more damage to fix here if he keeps driving like he is there.
He's had a good car all night long, and I think he can fix this car. He just got to stay patient right now.
Boy, he had his hands full here a moment ago. Watch him turning the wheel inside.
Look at that back steer. That was way out of shape right there. Right rear quarter panel, and boy, he caught that. And you know what? Nobody else has been able to do that all night long. This guy's a pretty good driver.
That's a quick reaction. He overcorrected it, and then he just made that quick snap back to the left. Keep that front end out of the wall.
Roger Penske's probably thinking, I cannot believe this has happened. We've had a great car all night long. How could we have wrecked on pit road? Alan?
The one who can't believe how they could have wrecked on pit road is Kurt Busch, Rusty. Kurt talking at the start of the night about needing to have a clean race all the way through. They've had a car they've kept up front all night, tuning on it to try and get it in position to win. Then they get torn up on pit road. Now he's back in traffic with a damaged race car. If you could spell frustration in capital letters and put about 100 exclamation points behind it, I think you don't begin to sum up the frustration Kurt Busch is expressing right now.
Alan, I totally agree with you, but they've got to get a hold of him on the radio and say, calm down. This kid's a real high-strung driver, gets mad a lot, but he's a really good driver. They got to calm him down right now.
Roger Penske's accustomed to having high-strung drivers in that 2 car, and how do you get somebody calm down if you're a crew chief or Roger Penske as a spotter?
Well, dude, if you think I was high-strung, this 2 car is really high-strung right now, and Roger's absolutely fantastic at slowing him down. So I think Roger can pull it off.
He's having to deal with a ton of race traffic right here. He's losing almost a second a lap to the leaders. That's one point of frustration for Kurt Busch, and he's working around this 01. This is the car that he hit to hurt that fender in the pits.
And he doesn't look like a car's off pace. It's running fast. He just needs to work himself back to the field, nice and easy.
Got to be patient right here.
Got to be careful when they get pinned behind some slower cars. Riding along with Michael Waltrip. Lots of traffic. There's the 0-1.
And you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get through this. He's probably frustrated a little bit, but that 2 car's been in front of him all night long, and they just got to show patience right now. Let this thing thin out a little bit before the 2 car of Kurt Busch and 8 car Dale Jr. can get through these fellas.
This 8 car has not done a very good job of keeping up with the racetrack. He was up front running in the top 5, 6, 8, 10 cars, and now here he is back, outside the top 20. Dave?
And the main thing that's been happening with that, Andy, is that the car has been rolling over and hitting coil binding on that right front too hard. In fact, Junior described it recently as sounding like Morse code. He could hear it tat, 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 tat as it went through the corners. So it's been chattering as it goes through those corners, difficult to turn.
The problem with that kind of a deal going on is it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. As these cars run, they seem to go down, they keep going down and hitting that right front spring in that coil bind, and it'll just keep getting worse and worse. That's a setup. This coil bind setup is something a lot of these guys are using to keep the front end of the car down low where it makes the most downforce. NASCAR checks the height of these cars in inspection, and they specify how high the car has to be. The teams want to run this car a whole lot lower than that, so they put this spring, real soft spring in there, and the forces on the racetrack, the aero forces in the bank, can push this car all the way down into what we call coil bind. You see that spring just completely collapse. And you got that, it's a tricky setup to get right, but when you got it right, it keeps that front end right down on the racetrack as you see here, and the car runs it like this all the way around, making tons of downforce.
Well, Andy, the result of that, if you can figure out how to get this car low on the track like these guys are doing with coil bind, it really makes that car fly through the corners. But man, it is moody. It doesn't like, sometimes you hit it and sometimes you don't. And coil binding is one of the toughest things these fellas work on and have to deal with.
It's all a timing thing. It's just when does that car go down and touch that coil? When does that coil touch? What point in the racetrack? A lot of guys struggle with that.
Back up front, Jimmy Johnson is the leader. Jeff Gordon in second spot. The next chaser, by the way, is Denny Hamlin in the 11 car back in fourth. Let's listen to the radios of the top 3 chasers, starting with Jimmy Johnson.
Pat, I feel like a change made an attitude change in the car. But it is making a turn. I'm like
Trouble here at the start-finish line. 49 car, heavy damage. 55 of Michael Waltrip, the 17 again, Matt Kenseth. As we have caution for the 10th time here on lap number 206.
49 car, too.
Well, this track is chewing them up.
Heavy contact by John Andretti there in the 49 car.
You'll be so hard, Robbie. I think he knocked the rear clip right off the car.
See John moving around inside the car, and now the window net, he's putting the window net down. That's the sign they want to give the safety crews to know that you're awake and alert. And so you see him trying to take the gloves off, obviously frustrated after that great run at Talladega last week. On the onboard camera of Michael Waltrip.
Ooh, Michael just loses the car coming off the corner.
Hold the brake. Just hold the brake. Hold the brake. Let go. Let go. Hold the brake. Hold the brake. Hold the brake. All right. All right.
Like Matt Kenseth got some help from behind on this. He probably got on the brakes to avoid this crash.
On the brakes here.
Car behind him must have been the 49 car. John Andretti got into the back.
I'm just amazed all the time how many wrecks we're seeing off that turn 4 just all night long. Same place, same problem. Great drivers just flat losing it. And when you spin off a 4, you're going to end up at the front straightaway.
Pit road is closed. As you see the ambulance there, they're going to bring them down to be able to keep the traffic off the main straightaway.
The reason they closed pit road is they have to use pit road as a racetrack, so they don't have to go by this wreck. We see these guys over here working on this car, this 49 car on the track. This keeps all the race cars away from all that, and so they close pit road so people won't be making pit stops.
See John, he is talking to the safety crews, and he will climb out. That car pinned right against the fence. And the crowd now applauding John Andretti as he gets out and is able to wave to him with a heavily damaged race car. Caution number 10 coming out lap 206. John Andretti involved, the 17 car of Kenseth, the 55 of Michael Waltrip involved. We're continuing down the 20 car.
Okay, pit road is closed, but these guys are choosing to go ahead and work on the race car. The penalty for this is to start at the tail end of the longest line. So these guys are just going to use this time to go ahead and work on the car. They're going to have to be at the tail end anyway, so they'll just go ahead and take the penalty.
Tony Stewart trying to get that damage repaired from contact first with the 15 car of Paul Menard and of course the 9 car of Casey Kane.
So let's just tighten it up here and if we can get it to where it's drivable. You put tires on it, just put like a pound in the right front.
Tony Stewart on the radio talking about some of the adjustments they're making. Under caution, back in just a moment. You're watching ESPN on ABC.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC. The Bank of America 500. Brought to you by Toyota. Moving forward.
And it's race 5 in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. Lowe's Motor Speedway's been chewing them up. The story in the FedEx race rundown. Kevin Harvick came in seated 5th. Early misdiagnosis caused 2 pit stops.
Yeah, and it's easy for us to second guess, but they came in and changed right side tires, and he actually ended up having a left rear tire going down that cost him.
Yeah, and he's never recovered. 5-time winner here, Jimmie Johnson, started second, took the lead for the first time on lap 17 and has dominated.
He is flat flying. Jimmie Johnson's the guy to watch for tonight.
And Matt Kenseth, one of the victims of turn 4 here. This track earns its name the Beast right there.
Matt has been so aggressive, Susie. He's been driving that race car so hard. He's really, really struggling. And then you see former champion Tony Stewart getting beat up in the pit area along with Kurt Busch, another former champ. Both of these guys got damage on pit road, and it's going to cost them in their opportunities to win this race.
And look who's up front. Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon behind. They've been handing off that #1 point seat back and forth. Alan?
Well, another round of pit stop, Susie, and the 26 car, Jamie McMurray, already come and gone. Right side tires on that car, but that's one of many choices being made down here right now.
Jimmy Johnson coming down as they finally open pit road. You see Denny Hamlin's crew now getting him service and getting out. Hamlin, a big gainer. He's gaining spots. He's now up 3 more spots in the chase for the Nextel Cup. He moved up 3 from Talladega with that 4th place finish from 12th to 9th. He now being shown 6th in the points. Talking about the 11 car of Hamlin.
Right now, different people are starting to surface up to the top 10, Jerry. You see Scott Riggs, he's up in the 6th place right now. Denny Hamlin's got that car worked out. He's up to 4th. And these guys are getting it worked out. David Gillian, I've been watching him come up farther. He's up to 15th right now. A lot of these guys are making tracks and getting better. Kyle Petty in 12th. They're all getting better.
More on Jimmy Johnson with Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, he came down. They took 4 tires. Car is pretty good right now, but the water temp was getting a little hot. They said to keep that fan on it. And Chad Knaus, crew chief, just reminded him on this restart, because of that track dry they have out there on the start-finish line, just watch your wheels spin. So we got to keep an eye on that on the restart.
Denny Hamlin in the 11 car took on 4 tires this time. No chassis adjustments. One thing they have been watching, difficult to get the car into 2nd gear all night long. That's just been an issue on the restarts, not really on and off of pit road being affected. But so far it's maintaining its position, which is not great, but some issues with 2nd gear.
Let's check out our Allstate Good Hands move of the race. Tony Stewart was the one who did it on behalf of Tony. Allstate will donate $1,000 to the Urban Youth Racing School. Now watch Tony drive through this incident here on the front straightaway.
Got 3 guys wrecking in front of Tony here, and he's trying to avoid all of them. Does a great job.
Good Hands move of the race, and the donation to the Urban Youth Racing School in the name of Tony Stewart.
I really like the shape of that right front fender. They've really fixed that.
Please. Looks like they've taken a piece and added to it a piece of a nose. You see where they've taped it all on there to get that shape back.
Updating the points here as of right now at lap 212. Jeff Gordon back atop the standings. 48 car back 57 points because of where he is on the racetrack.
But take a look at the hit that Tony Stewart's got. He's down 248 points behind, and he was only 154 going in. So unless he can get from the back up to the front, he's got a bad night going.
55 car, Michael Waltrip involved in the incident. Big press conference yesterday. Michael announcing he's got a partner, an equal partner named Robert Kaufman, basically 50% owner of the team. Trying to get more partnerships and more investors involved to be able to expand his franchise. David Ruderman, by the way, will take over in the 44 car next year after the first 5 events, because Dale Jarrett announced that he'll run the Bud Shootout and the first 5 points races and then step aside only to run the All-Star race here at Lowe in May.
4100.
A lot of adjustments being made throughout the night here on and off pit road. Let's check in on some of these and show you how they're done and what they do down at the ESPN Dish Tech Center in Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Jerry. What we're going to show you here, folks, Chad Knaus, he's one of the best in the business keeping up with Lowe's Motor Speedway. How's he do that? Spring rubbers. He runs the car, he makes adjustment, he reads his driver extremely well. When he wants to free the car up, he takes the spring rubber out of the left rear. When he wants to tighten the car back up on the other side aerodynamically, he'll even put one in the right rear, and that holds the spoiler up in the air. Chad Knaus, master at this racetrack, very good. Spring rubbers, key to winning this race tonight.
Great, Tim, exactly. And Rusty, a lot of teams use the spring rubbers. They put a lot in so the car can be easily adjusted during the race by just pulling them out.
Well, you normally do that in the garage area during practice. You'll change that spring just to change the spring rate. But what you want to do is be able to do it quickly. And so you change that thing, you put a rubber in there, and so you can take it in and out, and it's a quick way of adjusting that spring rate.
For more information on spring rubbers and adjustments like that, log on to ESPN.com, search word Tech Center. Jeff Gordon, the 4-time winner at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Coming down, will lead him down, and behind him, Clint Boyer, Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray, and David Gilliland. Good luck for the 38 car.
It's the first time all night long we've seen the 24 up front leading the race like he is right now. So let's see what he's got. Said his car was a little bit tight.
Here comes Harvick now. He wants to try to get one of these laps back. He's driving really hard because it's the only way he can do it. He knows he only has a few laps to get it done here.
If the caution comes out right now, he at least get one of them back, and he's 3 down right now, Kevin Harvick is. He needs a miracle tonight.
I'd be careful with him if I was Jeff Gordon, because this is kind of a dangerous situation. You got Harvick with not much to lose. Gordon's got everything to lose at this point.
Harvick driving it for all he's worth, down 3 laps, being shown in 34th position. Now pulls right in behind the 24.
Boy, the 5-car, Kyle Busch, really got loose that time, coming off at turn 2. Jamie McMurray right behind him. And boy, they were loose. Hey, take a look at Ricky Rudd in the 88 car. Back in the car. Looks like he's back in the hunt, too. Running good.
Both the Robert Yates cars look strong here. The 38 car, David Gilliland's now back up in the top 10.
How about the 10 of Scott Riggs, the pole sitter for both events here a year ago, running awfully well in that Dodge.
It looks good seeing Ricky Rudd back up in the mix of it right now. He's in 7th. Right on the bumper of Jeff Burton. Burton's had a good car throughout the night.
Jeff Burton looking over at the 5 car. That's for position. Kyle Busch is 6th. Burton is 7th.
I saw Ricky Rudd at breakfast the other day, and he said, man, Rusty, I just can't wait to get back in that car. Wanted to get healed up real good before I got back in it and did the best I can.
Yeah, Rudd separated his left shoulder with that driver's side impact at California. Missed the last 5 races and was excited to get back in the race car. Although he said the Hans device was a little uncomfortable on top of that shoulder where he had separated it. See the Ricky Rudd progression now all the way up to 8th position. Pretty good effort for both of the Yates cars. The 88 car of Rudd, by the way, and the 38 of Gilliland up in 3rd spot.
Boy, 3rd spot. That is a great run for David Gilliland. He was just really getting this car handling better throughout the night, and it is good to see the Yates teams back up to where they deserve. It's been a great family in racing for a long time. You know, Jamie McMurray underneath the 38 car, David Gilliland, that car's been strong throughout the night. He had a big wreck last night in the Busch Series race, getting down into turn 1. And he's got that in the back of his mind.
That 5 car is, and he's pushing hard on the outside. The car's loose. He's driving this thing, driving the wheels off of it.
Yeah, Kyle Busch is just hanging that car out. He likes them loose anyway, but man, that is a handful. Kyle Busch in the 5 car. We asked him about what it takes to win a championship here in NASCAR.
We keep focused and we keep going with what we got going on, and that's to try to win this championship. You know, those guys are a great bunch of guys. We've got a lot of great friends there, not only on the team, but at Hendrick Motorsports, and the guys have been, you know, pulling real hard and trying to do what we know how to do best, and that's to finish up front and, you know, try to win these things in order to keep ourselves in contention.
Moving to Joe Gibbs Racing after this season. Final races in with the Hendrick organization as Dale Earnhardt Jr. moves over to be a part of this organization. But Kyle Busch wants to take him out as a winner and a champion.
You know, that would be the best way to leave this, Steve, is to leave it with a championship. Boy, he's got his work cut out for him this year. I know he'd like to get it, but those teammates are making it real hard, not just on Kyle Busch, but everybody.
Dave?
And guys, 2 stops ago, they put on 4 tires. They said, we'll take our lumps now because we need fresh rubber. They took 0 tires this last time. He restarted 14th the last time. Now he's up in the lead pack. The car was just a little bit loose off this last time. Track bar adjustment, and also it's been running cool enough to add tape to that front end for a little better downforce.
You saw a moment ago in the chase points that Jeff Gordon was back on top of the points, and the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson was second, but some 49 or making 59 points back. Why? Because he was way back in about 17th spot. Well, here's the 7. Speaking of 17, here is Matt Kenseth once again having some contact.
It's not been Matt Kenseth's night at all. Man, he has been involved in just about everything we've seen out here.
That car's been destroyed. I mean, it's got the front end knocked off, the back of the car tore up, and it's just, you know, it couldn't be handled well.
You guys come in the garage here. We'll try to fix it.
Matt Kenseth was in position to get the free pass, and if the driver who's going to get the free pass is involved in an accident, they don't give anybody one.
Sorry. Something's wrong with this. I mean, it's so bent up. I just went in the corner and just swapped ends on me. I just moved up a little bit on the track to let him go and just swapped ends.
Kenseth back-to-back 35th place finishes at Dover and Kansas City, 26th at Talladega. He came into here 11th out of the 12 drivers in the chase.
Stay on the brake here. Stay on the brake. Keep it up against the wall there. Keep it up the wall.
That car is so bent up. It just got to be hard to handle. Like he said, not enough downforce. It's bent up in the front, bent up in the back. And how can you hold on to it, Andy? You just can't, you know?
Seems like sometimes the slower you go, the worse that gets, too. He said he just backed off and let somebody go, and the thing just swapped around on it.
Okay, who's going to roll the dice in the pits now? We've seen fuel only in some of the cars up front, 2 tires. Let's find out. Go down to Alan Bestwick.
Well, David Gilliland having a terrific race. He's up in 3rd position. This team is setting itself up for the finish of this race. So the car top left of the screen, Yates Racing is going to take 4 tires, looking for a quicker stop when the final stop comes up a little bit later on. Jamie?
And Jeff Gordon comes in as the leader. First time tonight we've seen him here. He came on the radio and said, I don't know why we have to take left sides at all, but that is exactly what they're doing. They're not wearing a whole lot. Dave?
Track position 07, fuel only for the 2nd stop in a row.
Lots of strategy, a near miss on pit road. The 84 Allmendinger almost getting caught up in something.
How about Scott Riggs, 2nd place?
Ryan Newman up 7 spots. Gordon back 3. Kurt Busch up 10 positions. Boy, that'll shake it up. We'll settle it when we come back for the green flag. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, this beautiful aerial coverage brought to you from our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Well, it's the biggest new comedy hit since the Ice Age, and Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, it's your chance to join the club. Don't miss the show that critics are saying will revive the sitcom on network TV. Make a mandate to watch Caveman. Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central on ABC. Start here. Let's take a look back at what we called Calamity Corner, turn 4. And it all started on lap 1. 000 car of David Rudeman. Into the contact, lap 77. Tony Raines, our in-race reporter, the 96 car. Robbie Gordon in the 7 car, lap 137. He has contact with both sides up in turn 4. Lap 158, 17. One of our chasers, Matt Kenseth, comes around. It all starts on turn 4, and he pirouettes down the straightaway and pops the wall here in the front stretch. You guys talked about Calamity Corner tonight. 8 of the 11 cautions for 33 laps have all started or ended there in turn 4. Clint Boyer will start here at the start-finish line and lead him down. Scott Riggs, another good run for Riggs in that 10 car in 2nd spot, and Ryan Newman, the 12, who was our pole sitter, back in 3rd.
You're going to see a lot of haves and have-nots here. A lot of different pit strategy, 2 tires, 4 tires, stuff like that. Pretty mixed up at the moment.
Look at Kyle Busch all the way on the inside to go 3 wide to try to make the pass.
And Jamie Murray just pulls it down. McMurray pulled it down off of turn 4, drove underneath the 66 car, made that pass. But take a look at the 2 car of Kurt Busch. They've continued to work on that car. Pat Tryson, the crew chief, adjusting on it. Roger Penske, the owner, calming the driver down. It's starting to pay off.
Well, Truex up high nearly got pinched up in the wall. He's right in front of Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car. Some big picture strategy now playing out, Alan Bestwick.
Well, what these teams are all doing, Doc, is trying to get themselves clean air. We've seen tonight several different times. A car gets out in front, he gets gone, he gets a big lead, while these cars scramble around back in the traffic are struggling with the handling of their car. Their lap time's much slower. Look at Jimmy Johnson. Remember that 48 car, how many times he's been out to a lead in this race? Now he's back in traffic and struggling. All these crazy strategies on pit road are trying to set themselves up to be able to go to the finish on the fuel and tires they have, to be up front in clean air. That's what's going on down here. We'll see who gets it right in a little bit.
Andy, if you're a good crew chief, you better be a pretty good chess player. You got to be thinking way ahead on what's going to happen over the final 100 laps.
You got to start at the end of the race and work it backwards a little bit on these moves to know where you need to be. And you know, you're seeing Jimmy Johnson fight this traffic, and that's not because of his last pit strategy move. It was the one before that where they got 4 tires. This last time they got 2 tires, but they're still back here.
Down the back.
Oh, Jimmy Johnson spins around in the 48 car. Loops it around, has some damage, it looks like, in the right rear
bumper. Couldn't tell.
Back in traffic, trying to work his way through. Chad Knaus talking to his driver. We saw Jimmy Johnson spin last night.
Let's get ready. Let's get our hammers ready. Right rear is bent up just a little bit on the right side. What we got to do is we got to flatten it out. Flatten that spoiler out. Get 4 tires on those. Try to get it back here so we don't lose a lap, Jimmy.
Okay, now these guys have some work to do.
There's the damage on the 48 car. Let's see exactly what happened with Jimmy Johnson back in heavy traffic.
See him off of turn 2.
Not bad, man. We're going to be fine.
This
We're going to
is
be fine.
exactly what happened to him last night in the Busch race.
He said last night, just my fault. He said, I didn't mean to do it. It just spun the car out last night in the Busch Series race, like you said, Andy. But the thing that's different right now, he's not tore up too bad. And I really like how calm Chad Knaus is on the radio. We can fix it. Be calm. And they can fix this thing, and they can get it back in. With 103 laps to go, there's a lot of time left.
These kind of moments can cost you a championship or can win you a championship. You hear how poised and composed Chad Knaus was. Listen in.
Close up any gaps that we can. Are you ready for that?
This is the thing that
All
this
right,
team
clear
does
out,
well.
run, clear out, clear out, clear out, go, go, go.
Is recover from something like this. And that's what a championship team has to be able to do.
4,000.
You're not going to avoid everything. You're just going to have to react to it.
All about composure and poise and leadership. You heard how composed Chad Knaus was. How good's the car? We'll find out when we come back in just a moment. Welcome back to the Bank of America 500. Now under caution for the 12th-time damage to Jimmy Johnson's car number 48.
These guys are trying to get this car back competitive. They've got some damage you got to fix. See the guys here wondering, hey, do you want to raise the car up a little bit in the back? That couldn't do anything but help us here in this situation. They still have to pass inspection after the race, but there's a little leeway. So he looks up there, and Chad's giving them all this from the top of the pit box. This crew member looks up and said, hey, do you want me to do this? You see Chad, he's just directing these guys. He's trying to get this guy out of his way so he can see the crew.
Yeah, he was pointing up and down as to which way to go, so a lot of people on that team thinking ahead, including that crew member who knew he probably needed to make an adjustment on the car. Back under green, Clint Bowyer is the leader. By the way, he moves up currently to second in the chase position, and Jimmy Johnson goes back to third. But
check out Scott Riggs.
Riggs trying to lead for the first time tonight on the bottom of the racetrack.
The 10 car of Scott Riggs has got himself in position right now. We haven't talked about him all night. Back and forth with Clint Bowyer. Bowyer loves that top side of the racetrack, getting a lot of bite up in the top side. But I'm really impressed with these points. He's only 38 points out of the lead behind Jeff Gordon right now. Clint Bowyer is.
Scott Riggs got the free pass on lap 77, the fourth caution flag of the night to get back on the lead lap, and now he's back up there battling for the lead.
Battling Clint Bowyer, and I'm telling you, Clint Bowyer has done a wonderful job tonight. He's been up front all night long, been very composed. We see, Jimmy Johnson having a problem, Jeff Gordon now having to fight some of this traffic, but that 07's been up front all night long.
He has been exactly where he needed to be. He's done what he needed to do. He's kept the car out of trouble. And that's the big thing right there.
You got to give his crew chief Gil Martin some credit here too, because this has been really hard. These guys run 10, 12, 14 laps, have these cautions, and you got to figure out what to do.
Yeah, but take a look at the 12 car, Ryan Newman. He's got this thing flying right now. He's worked on this car throughout the night. And Roger Penske's probably thinking, wow, at least I got another one back in the hunt right now, while Kurt Busch is still trying to get his car fixed.
One of our chasers who's not had a good night is standing in the garage area with Alan Bestman.
And sitting in his car, helmet on. Matt, not a very good night for you. Tell us about it.
I don't know where to start. We had a pretty fast car tonight. It just, we had something weird that we were running 10 laps and it was so loose in the corner I could hardly hang on to it. And it was really gangbusters for 10 laps, but that's really no excuse. I really feel like an idiot out here tonight. I wrecked at least twice. It seems like we wrecked for a month straight. So really want to apologize to my fans, the car, especially all these guys working on this car. I really feel bad for these guys. I really let them down.
Thanks for the time, Matt. And sorry to say, it actually has been a month straight. The fourth straight race, Matt's had trouble.
Just can't buy a break here in this chase, the former Cup champion. Bowyer now pulling away a little bit from Riggs in second spot. Newman back in third, beginning to move in on Scott Riggs. And how about that 24 car of Jeff Gordon moving in on all of them?
Check out this hornet's nest behind these guys, man. I tell you, they've been racing hard back in here. See Tony Stewart now trying to recover from that pit road incident.
With 31 of Jeff Burton. They were on 3 wide going down the back straightaway. We entered turn 3 a little while ago. Stewart, he is just trying his rear end off.
He's not going to give up.
No, he's got a pretty good looking fix on that car. That right front fender is not too bad for downforce now.
It doesn't look that great. I think the shape's fine, but it doesn't look all that great with all that tape all over it, but it's functional.
This is 14th and 15th. These two teammates for Joe Gibb Racing. 20 car of Stewart, the 11 of Hamlin. Behind him, the 0-1 car, Mark Martin, and then Carl Edwards behind Martin.
You see the damage on the left-hand side of Mark Martin's car from the pit road incident with Kurt Busch. He's got the whole driver's side door caved in that car. Doesn't seem to be affecting the handle on that much of it, though. Now, if that was the right side, it would.
What about the 48 car, Jimmy Johnson? Were the repairs good enough? Let's watch this car. He's been one of the best cars on this racetrack all night long, and watching this sail by the 84 car of Allmendinger. That puts him back up in 25th position, but a long way to go.
He's still got a lot of work to do, but it looks like his car's handling pretty well. It's like Chad's got that thing tuned up pretty good. If they'll just keep, and this is what they can do. They'll methodically pick these guys off, and they'll get a good finish before this night's over.
Well, they keep putting shape in that right rear quarter panel, fixing it. Getting it where it makes maximum downforce. That's the key to getting this car back up front. But every time you work on it, you lose track position. So there's a point in time where he's got to stop working on it and just go for getting advancement. Advance this car up to the front.
It's just about that point of the race now. We've got 92 laps to go. One more pit stop for these guys. So they've just got to start now getting themselves some track position, getting up front.
30 cars on the lead lap, as you said, Andy, now with 91 laps to go. The 10, the 12, and the 24. That's second, third, and fourth. And now here comes Newman back to challenge for second spot.
Yeah, there's another driver getting comfortable on the top of the racetrack that Ryan Newman is. I like the attitude of this car. The nose down on the ground, the back of the car up in the air, making maximum downforce. And this team has really had a great night so far tonight. Working on the car every stop. And look where it's got him now, up into second position.
Newman, a 7-time pole sitter this racetrack. Remarkably, he's never won at Lowe's Motor Speedway. His best finish came second back in this race 4 years ago in 2003.
This racetrack's probably changed a little bit because we see some new guys up front, and then they're not just sitting up there, they're racing hard up there. It's not just from pit position or pit strategy. That 12 car looks strong right now, and he wasn't this strong early in the race.
Ryan Newman has been a great qualifier, but just trying to catch a break, trying to catch some luck. And we asked him about the reversal of luck.
They say that there is such a thing as racing luck. I think we missed a lot of that. But I also believe, more importantly, that you create your own luck, and we didn't do enough of that. So hopefully these last races here will prove that we can move.
And guys, just tracking their pit stops, they're one of the teams, as Alan talked about, setting themselves up to have options on their last pit stop. They will pit one more time for fuel, but they took 4 tires the last time they came down pit road. That'll give them the chance to take either 0 or 2 if they want to pick up positions.
You know, I like tires. When I was driving the car, Andy, you know, if somebody said, you want 2 or 4, I'm going to give me 4 as long as I don't lose any positions.
Oh, yeah, you want your cake and eat it, too.
That's right, man.
These two guys running second and third, the guy they're chasing. How about Clint Boyer and the kind of chase he's had? He got into chase as the 12th place car, the only driver who was able to qualify for the chase and hadn't won a race. And what did he do? First race out, he wins for the first time in his NASCAR Nextel Cup career in just his 64th start. Clint Boyer, the leader. Just 87 laps to go. By the way, he moves up to second in the chase points. Back after these messages and a word from our ABC station.
You plus me, it equals better.
And Matt, back here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte, the Bank of America 500, and Jimmy Johnson is having a night like LSU and California, running 1 or 2 depending on the time of this race. He led for 96 laps. The 48 car spun out and he dropped way back. And so, Dr. Jerry Punch, if I was Jeff Gordon, I'd hang on real tight tonight, my friend, because right now he's up there in that LSU Cal spot.
And an afternoon for upsets in college football. And remember, Jeff Gordon doesn't have the best record here of late at this racetrack. He has not finished a race at this track since October of 2004. 5 consecutive DNFs for Jeff Gordon as the laps wind down. There's the 07 car. Talk about Cinderella stories. Kentucky, Oregon State, and Clint Boyer in the 07 car. The young man who had not won a race when he got in the chase, and now he won one at New Hampshire and is having a heck of a night here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
See a little bit of trash on the grill of this 07, just that little white spot on the grill. Back a few laps ago here, it was a little bit wider, covering quite a bit of that thing. I saw some water spewing out of this car, maybe running just a little bit hot, but now it's not nearly as bad. I got up behind this 41 car trying to change that aerodynamic flow to try to blow that off of there, and it did help. It looks like it took about half of it off.
Yeah, a lot of times when you get a lot of trash in the grill, the first thing you want to do is pull up really tight to the car behind you, because the air coming out from under that car actually will go right over the top of the nose and blow it off. And most of it's gone right now. That's a good idea how he did that.
They think they're back in a good position now, guys. Crew Chief spotter Mike Dillon was trying to get him to take it off from the 41 car. It did not work, but he said, you know what? It wadded it up, so maybe it'll improve. It has. It'd be like pulling tape if you had to. They just made it a whole lot smaller. The air moving around just wadded up that hot dog wrapper.
Well, right now they're watching our cameras. They're looking at the nose of this car. They're pretty comfortable right now that the little piece is still on there is not hurting anything. If the temperatures are okay, Andy is probably giving them a little bit more downforce. It might even be making the car handle better.
It could make the car handle better as long as it doesn't run hot. It keeps the engine cool, it won't hurt a thing. It's getting cooler as we go here too. This nighttime air, everything's cooling down. You would actually want to put some tape on the grill in that situation. Here's the 96 car. You see the water coming out of the overflow of that car. He's got a lot of paper on the front of this thing. Looks like hot dog wrappers.
Boy, talk about a different example. If you get too much on the grill, that's the problem. You get a lot of water coming out of the front. Now, this thing won't last too long, I wouldn't think, Andy.
Tony's going to have to do something about this, because you can see, there's a lot of water coming out of this thing right here. That's the overflow. The thing spews steam when it overheats. If they do it too long, they'll run it out of water.
And the only thing they can do now is get this thing back down pit road.
This time, guys, 4 tires. 12 tape on the bottom. Probably 3 pieces on the bottom.
Tony Raines coming on the pit road. He's our in-race reporter following that top 10 run at Talladega last week. Troubles here in Charlotte tonight.
He's probably hoping for a caution flag so they can get the hood open and refill the water. Put some more water back in this thing, because
it's so hard though to get water in these cars. They run these pressurized cooling systems, and once it runs hot, it's just so hard to force water back in there.
It's like a geyser.
Yeah, they got a few problems here we're going to work on.
Yeah, they can pull all the tape off they want, but if you don't have any water in the engine, it's not going to cool, that's for sure. It should stop, in a little bit here once the motor cools down a little bit, but still being way low on water. Talk about things heating up right now. Ryan Newman starting to run down that 07 car, Clint Boyer. Jeff Gordon right behind him.
Take a look at our Ford lap leaders. Jimmy Johnson has led 6 times for 95 laps. By the way, he's making his way back up in the 17th spot. Clint Boyer currently has led 71 laps and is leading. Kenseth, McMurray, Kurt Busch, some of the guys that stayed out. Kyle Petty led 2 laps. Robbie Gordon and Dave Blaney getting those valuable 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Remember the 48 car came back in, had that damaged right rear repaired or patched up. Some of that tape coming off. He came back out in about 28th position. He's now gained 13 spots. And the 48 car now being shown currently, though, in 17th position. So he's slowly but surely been able to make some progress back toward the top 15.
Methodically moving to the front. We see some of this tape coming loose on the repair. They didn't have a lot of time to get this done, maybe as good as they wanted to do. It seems to be holding up, and all they're losing right here is a little bit of tape.
Getting set for what could be or should be, if we stay green, the final pit stop of the night. A lot of different strategies have played out on pit road. Some guys saying fuel only, some guys taking 4 tires, 2 tires. The pit strategy, of course, could make a big difference in what happens in the chase for the Nextel Cup. 68 laps to go. The 48 of Jimmy Johnson, 07 of Clint Boyer, Jeff Gordon at 24. What about their pit strategies? Who's going to be able to pull it off? We'll find out when we come back. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway, giving you the big picture above this battle up front between Gordon and Boyer, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Moving in on pit stops, and the 24 car moving in on the lead of the 07.
Yeah, he's been working himself to the front little by little every single lap, and now he's finally caught Boyer working the bottom side of that racetrack. Boy, you got to hand it to Clint Boyer. He's held on for a long time.
Remember, Jeff Gordon has had 5 consecutive DNFs at this racetrack. October of 2003, the last time he was able to make it to the checkered flag. The 2 car dropping back a little bit. Very, very strong about 4 or 5 laps ago, running laps quicker than the leaders, and now suddenly seems to be dropping back a little bit.
Yeah, we're hearing right now that he's lost a cylinder with the engine. We're not for sure yet, Alan.
That's the report coming over the team's radio. He thinks he might have dropped a cylinder. They're planning to pit around 278, now hoping for a caution to see if they can diagnose that problem. Remember, they had that problem happen in New Hampshire in the first race of the chase. The problem ended up being a small piece in the carburetor. What a night it's been for this team. Troubles, a rally, and now more troubles.
That's a tough break for Kurt Busch. He had a great race car and was coming to the front. He was running the fastest laps we were seeing on the board.
Or they always say, it seems like when they run really fast, then they blow up, right?
That's what they say.
07 car, Clint Boyer. Let's check in his pits with Dave.
Here's the quandary, Doc. The last time the 07 took tires on this race car, the caution when Bill Elliott crashed. That was about lap 189 to 191. I think they're going to have to take 4. But now Gil Martin told me this morning, one of the great things about this tire is it's hard. It'll last forever. Be interested to see what they'll do.
I'll be surprised if most, if not all of these leaders take 4 tires, because they have to have a full tank of fuel to make it to the end, and it takes about 14 to 15 seconds to get a full tank of fuel, and that's about how long it takes to change 4 tires.
Well, his tires are 35 laps older than some of these, like this guy. McMurray coming on the pit road, the first guy to make a pit stop. Let's go down to Alan Bestrom.
And this pit stop from 8th place, Doc. He pitted at lap 211, did not pit at 224 when many of the other front runners did. They are not set to make the finish with this car on this one more stop. But what they need now is for this race to stay green until everyone else cycles around to a pit stop. Then they need a timely caution flag to get back on an even fuel strategy.
Don't speed now, don't speed. 4,000.
Great pit stop, 13.6.
Yeah, that's a fast stop. I mean, that's one of the quickest we've seen all night long.
That's bad news, though. He's pitted here with 59 laps to go, and he can't run 59 laps. A lot of these other guys are going to make their last pit stop here under green if we don't have a caution.
Andy, how far do you think they can go? What car can run the very fastest? Not really what car, but 55 laps, you think?
55 laps is probably on the outside of that. And here we got Kurt Busch coming in with this problem. I'm sure they're going to try to ride it out. Alan?
Well, it's a green flag pit stop, so they're not going to take the time to pull the hood pins and look under the hood. They'll make 4 tires, fill it up with fuel, and then hope after the stop cycle around that they get a caution flag to get a chance to have a look. But Kurt Busch on pit road now, getting his service.
He gave up the 5th position to come in for that pit stop, 13.4 seconds, a good pit stop. Bad news that he may be down a cylinder and they don't have time to even look. Jeff Gordon setting sail, moving by Michael Waltrip in the 55 car. Michael being shown in 23rd position. He is the first car a lap down.
We see this 24 car dive down in the corners, and we've seen it all night long. Really haven't talked about it. You see a little bit of smoke coming out from under the car. What that is, we got a caution.
Turn 2, contact 2 cars. Juan Pablo Montoya got heavy contact on his Dodge. Another car up high that's also involved in it. Coming down across the racetrack with sparks. That is the 10 car of Scott Riggs that was having such a great run tonight.
Both of these cars torn all 2 pieces.
That is a major impact. And Scott's driving the car. He looks like he's okay. He's steering it in. But boy, the soft wall, Andy, again, I can't hand it to NASCAR enough. I mean, really has helped these drivers survive these big, big wrecks.
This was a tough break for some of those guys that just pitted. Kurt Busch just pitted. Saw Jamie McMurray under green. This is going to be a tough break for those guys.
Juan Pablo Montoya, who had a 15-point lead in the Rookie of the Year standings. You saw him climbing out of the car. Here's what happened over in turn 2.
Oh, looks like the 42 car had a problem and just collected up that 10 of Scott Riggs. Looks like maybe a right front tire went down on the 42.
From the 42 on board, Montoya.
Oh, you hear it. Hear the power blow out.
Jeff Burton, he saw what happened right in front of him.
Ooh, man, that's a hard look.
He's up high. Stay down. Come on, come on. There you go. Caution's out. Good job, bud. Good job.
Here they come in what could be the final pit stop of the night. Let's go down to Mike Massaro.
And Doc, Jeff Burton pretty happy with the car. May have a little bit of a shifter problem, having some problems going from fourth gear to third gear. That's not an issue they can address here. 4 tires and fuel. Jamie?
And Jeff Gordon, and he said his car is pretty awesome right now. They're going to do 4 tires and fuel. Jeff Gordon looking for his first win since '99. Dave?
Bottom of the screen, Clint Boyer, 4 tires, no changes. This is the one that counts. Fresh rubber, the definite call here, and this is their opportunity. A little bit slow. Alan.
And Kurt Busch has come back down pit road. They've raised the hood on this car. They've taken a heat gun to try and check and see if there's a cold cylinder on this car, trying to diagnose whatever the issue is on that 2 machine.
Boy, Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon looked like they were in a quarter-mile drag strip coming down pit road. They got off, and they were side-by-side pulling out. Almost synchronized pit exit there between the 5 and the 24. It looks like Kyle Busch will get that race off and gain 3 spots with the 5 car.
The big loser there was Clint Boyer. He lost a few spots.
Now watch the close call here. We talked about both these cars pulling out at the same time, the 24 and the 5, and they have to pull out wide. Now watch Jeff leaving here. Watch the 5 come out.
A little bit of a drag race down pit road. It really wasn't that close, 3 or 4 foot away from each other, but look at this.
Whoa, right at the line.
Wow. 5 car gets it. Under caution for the 13th time. Back with a restart in just a moment. Welcome back to the Bank of America 500. Folks, next week we head to Martinsville Speedway, NASCAR's oldest track. It's getting down to the wires. We headed into race number 6 in the chase for the Nextel Cup. The winner in April was Jimmy Johnson, who's won the last 2 Martinsville races, by the way. How about that spring race, the great finish with Johnson barely beating his teammate Jeff Gordon, the 4th closest finish this season. Folks, we're heading to Martinsville next week. Of course, our airtime on ABC, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Getting set for the restart. Pace car or pace truck pulling away. Airtime, I should say, 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon in Martinsville, Virginia. Kyle Busch.
Jamie McMurray in this 26 car trying to stay on the lead lap. He made that pit stop under green, and he's just trying to maintain this lead lap spot and hopefully get a caution so he can come back around. That was tough break for him having to pit under green.
Well, right now he just needs to use that clean air for the downforce and the speed, and just trying to check out, drive as hard as he can, and hope for another caution flag, because that's all Jamie can do at this moment. We've always talked about how the cars out front just create a lot of downforce when you're out front like that, and that's what's going on with Jamie right now.
Here comes Jeff.
Jeff Gordon moving on the inside to take the spot away from Kyle Busch.
And he made that look easy.
Wow. You think he wants to get a good finish here? It's been a while.
Oh, somebody told him this is the last run right here to the checker. Somebody must have told him.
And what about the King's car? 43 for Bobby Labonte back in 4th position. Bobby, a former 2-time winner here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, but it's been a while.
I'll tell you, the guy wanted to get back up front now was 07 of Clint Boyer. It's been up front the night a long time. Look at this run he's got off the corner. He's a lot of momentum, but then he gets right behind the back of the 43. He really can't go much farther, kind of stalls out.
Remember, Boyer ran so well, ran 87 laps on the same set of tires and was leading. So now with fresh rubber, let's see what he can do.
Still got a top 5 spot here. If he can just be patient enough and bide his time, he'll get back up through here, maybe pass a few of these guys.
You know, it's good to see that 43 car of Bobby Labonte running the way he's running right now in the 5th position. Car struggled pretty much off and on all year long, but they hired Doug Randolph, and this crew chief's really helped him. Mike?
And you're absolutely right, Rusty. Doug Randolph is the reason, at least in Bobby Labonte's mind, why this team has really turned things around lately. He says that Randolph has raised the bar, and I spoke with Doug this morning about this particular race car, and he feels like he's got a pretty good shot. This is no surprise considering what their teammate Kyle Petty did earlier this year, finishing third. You know, I asked Randolph if he thought it was a realistic possibility that they could get to victory lane. He said if you'd asked me that question 2 weeks ago, he would have said absolutely not. But tonight, he believes it is a possibility.
And how about these guys here? Both cars that have had trouble. Tony Stewart in the 20 car, Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Both have had damage repair. Right front for Stewart, right rear for Jimmy Johnson. They're battling now all the way up in 12th position.
They're just chipping away at it, one car at a time. These guys are just moving their way back up through here, and this is why they're such great race car drivers. They never give up.
They both got a little damage. Stewart's got damage in the right front. Johnson's got damage in the right rear. Maybe that's going to equalize itself, Andy, for the run about the same speed. Right now, Jeff Gordon's out front running 29.70s compared to 30.40s with Stewart and Johnson. So a little farther behind than the leaders, that's for sure.
Amy McMurray doing a heck of a job staying in front of Jeff Gordon there, trying to be able to hopefully get a break and get that lap back. He is now on the tail end of the lead lap. He would be the 23rd car on the lead lap as of right now. More on Jeff Gordon. Let's check in with Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, you know, how these guys are running tonight has really surprised this team in the 24. I talked to crew chief Steve Letarte earlier today, and he said, you know, we haven't finished the last 5 races here. All we want to do is get 500 miles in. That's our goal. If we finish in the top 15, we're thrilled. But right now they're leading. They can't believe how this car has come around as the race has gone on. It's cooled down. Jeff Gordon may be taking over for Jimmy Johnson, going to victory lane tonight for the first time, as I mentioned, since 1999.
I see somebody Jeff Gordon's going to have to deal with right here in this black 07. Clint Boyer's now moved his way up to 3rd spot. He's got a fast hot rod.
Yeah, he really does. On our lap tracker up here in the booth, he's about 2nd quick right now, but he keeps running faster, and the leader, I can't get away from him right now. So Boyer does have a good car.
Jeff Gordon, this battle here, Newman and Boyer, different lines in the corner. More on Clint Boyer with Dave.
They had that slow pit stop up on pit road, and as he looks for a way to get by the 12, Clint Boyer was very calm on the radio. Now, is that the same Clint Boyer we heard even when he was winning at New Hampshire? That's one of the things that Gil Martin said he is starting to learn very quickly. Stay calm in the car no matter what happens. And after that last pit stop, which cost him a number of positions, he said practically nothing. He said, we'll get it, was all he responded after the slow stop.
Well, Dave, I can tell you one thing. That 07 car, it's pretty easy to stay calm when you got a fast car, and he's got one now. But Jeff Gordon, he's a guy who's got a really fast car. About a 1/10 of a half faster than anybody in the field right now. He's got clean air right on the bottom of the track, running the fastest way around, and that's where it is.
If we stay green, they have made their final pit stop. They got to get it done on the racetrack. 41 laps to go. It is Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Newman, Boyer, and Jeff Gordon.
ESPN's coverage of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on ABC, the Bank of America 500, brought to you by Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity, and Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR.
Well, for Jeff Gordon, this place brought him his first pole and his very first win. That was in 1994. But lately, an awful streak of bad luck. He hopes to turn that around as he is driving for 5 titles.
Yeah, he's had some DNFs, multiple DNFs at this racetrack. But yeah, you're right. He's in the drive for 5. And if we look back over the Chase Series in history, he actually probably could have won 2 more championships. And so this is his year. Jeff Gordon's marching towards that title again.
And right now, he's leading in the points as we get caught up on our 12 Chase drivers as we get up to speed, beginning with Jamie Little.
Well, Susie, last weekend, Jeff Gordon won in Talladega. He only led 1/3 of a lap, and he went to victory lane, and he told us on Thursday night qualifying that was the biggest win of his career. Can he back it up and win here tonight? We'll know in just about 38 laps. Right now, though, he says this car is awesome. Dave?
Earlier today, Clint Boyer had a slow pit stop. He drove the 07 car back to the front. It happened again recently, and now he chases down Jeff Gordon. multiple winner at this racetrack, trying to beat him. Recovery twice today for Boyer. The 5-car of Kyle Busch right now running fourth. He's dropped back since the restart car, just not responding as well at the beginning of this run as it was. They did great on pit road and then fell back. The 11 of Denny Hamlin, the difficulty he's had with the shifter and with his second gear seemed to have gone away, but the car just has not been there tonight for Denny. Little tight here, little loose there. It just has not been fast here tonight, Mike.
It's been an incredibly challenging weekend for the 31 team. They crashed early in practice on Friday. They spent much of the afternoon Saturday this morning still working on the right front fender, making that a little bit better. They've been strong on the long runs, although they haven't gotten many of them tonight. They're in the midst of one, and they hope it continues because that's their strength. Alan?
Carl Edwards started this race in the 18th position, and he really just ran in the teens almost this whole race. Then a couple of guys got trapped by that caution pitting under the green. It's moved him up inside the top 10. Edwards right now in 8th position and on the lead lap, making something out of a night when things haven't gone all that well, Jamie.
Well, proving how he won the championship last year, Jimmie Johnson, guys, restarted after that damage to the right side corner of his car. He's battled from 29th up to 10th. He's now in the 10th spot. Right now, if it were to end, he would still be second in the points. Mike?
Martin Truex Jr.'s night has been kind of like a yo-yo. They've gone from the back to the front to the back, and then again from the back toward the front. They're running 11th right now, a little bit loose, but they tell me it's the best this car has been all night long. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart's night, well, it could have been a lot better. His night kind of went south when he was involved in a collision on pit road with Paul Menard. The team went to work on that right front fender. Very resourceful. They stuffed some rags between the old fender and the new fender just to keep that fender from collapsing, but the car has rebounded as he rallies, but he's running out of laps. Alan?
And Kurt Busch finding himself now running in 26th place. Remember at lap 191, he had the pit collision with Mark Martin while he was running up front. Then they made repairs. Then he came back to run as high as 3rd. Then the engine developed a miss, and they made a green flag pit stop, and the caution came out, and it's just been going downhill from there. Jamie?
And it was definitely going downhill early on for Kevin Harvick, and he hasn't been able to regain much ground. Right now, running 32nd, 5 laps down. Right now, he slipped 4 positions in the points that would put him 9th. This is just the way the chase has been for Kevin Harvick, but he continues to forge ahead and salvage some points. Alan?
Well, a month of misery for Matt Kenseth, the 4th straight night where he's going to have a bad finish in this chase. He's running in 36th place right now after his crash back at lap 224. The last time Matt Kenseth had 3 straight races where he finished 26th or worse, back in 2001. Now he's going to have 4 when he's trying to race for a championship.
Back up front, the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, and did we see a wisp of smoke from this car?
We've seen a wisp of smoke out of this car almost all night as he gets into the corner. And all that is that tire, when they run these cars in that coil bind setup and travel them so far, that tire rubs the hood or the top of the fender, makes just a little bit of smoke. We see it right there. Nothing to worry about. That's the kind of smoke you don't really worry about.
This guy's had a lot of bad luck here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. He just wants to get this night over with and probably try to stop that bad luck he's had here. 28 laps to go, and boy, he's got this race in control right now. His lap speeds are really good, and he's got to be feeling good about the way this car's handling right now. Look at the lead, such a big lead.
Gordon the leader, Boyer in second, Kyle Busch third, then Newman, then Hamlin. How about the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. now being shown in 21st position. Remember, there are 22 cars on the lead lap.
Jerry, this car is just not handled. The 8 car, Dale Jr., he's been like a half a second off. And Andy, was he talking about coil bind problems, I think, earlier in the day?
He was having a few problems with his setup, and it's just gone south on him. Here's a race for second spot. Kyle Busch, I was watching his lap times. He was running laps faster than Gordon a few laps ago.
So maybe if he can get in the clean air and get the downforce in the front of that car, he can run down Gordon, because he's been working those 7 car behind him, and, you know, that's not the place to be. You want to get out front. You hear these drivers talking about it all the time. The clean air for downforce.
Now, give a call to the driver of the 84 Toyota, A.J. Allmendinger. And, folks, this young man is making only his 14th ever start in a NASCAR Nextel Cup car, and he's being shown in 14th position.
This is a guy that's going to get it figured out. He knows that. Look, he's driving down in the corner. He knows how to drive fast, and he's going to make this thing work. We heard Mark Martin over the weekend on one of our shows talk about just how much talent this guy has. When Mark Martin says you got talent, you got talent.
And Andy, the guy he probably wants to thank a lot for this good success he's having is Chip Ganassi, letting him drive that Busch Series car. That car's really helped him, Jerry. We talked about this a lot. It's helped his driving skills and understand these cars.
We asked him about goals for the remainder of the year, and one of them has to be to get their car, their team, in the top 35 in the owner's points.
It's so difficult to explain just to the fan and just to the typical person what being out of the top 35 does to you during the week, does to you when you get to the racetrack, does to you, mentally, physically. It's a grueling thing to not be in there. And it's tough when you show up on Friday and you're not in the race. That's all you have to focus on.
If you're not in the top 35, you are not guaranteed a spot in the field each week. And if you're not in the top 35 at the end of the season, you're not guaranteed to start in the first 5 events of 2008.
I talked to his crew chief, Ricky Byers, this weekend, and he said that their whole weekend is nothing but qualifying. He said this racing stuff's easy. It's getting into the race that's hard.
The 48 car, by the way, of Jimmy Johnson. You heard Jamie Little tell you that he came back on the racetrack in 29th position. Folks, don't give up on JJ just yet. He is now up in 8th spot and chipping away little by little.
If it goes green, he's not going to be able to win, but with a few cautions thrown in there, he might even still have a shot.
Well, the last time by, Jeff Gordon, his teammate, ran a 30.72, and Jimmy Johnson just ran a 30.65, so he's actually running faster than the leader of the race right now.
There's another teammate, that 5 car, though, that's running just about 3 or 4 tenths faster than the leader. He's got a little ground to make up. He's got about 4 seconds to make up on Jeff, so maybe Jeff's pedaling back a little bit and giving some of that lead back. But Kyle Busch is flying.
Hear anything? Can we get a 10 to go unless somebody's really catching us?
Well, everybody's got a little radio chatter going on right now. That was Jeff Gordon talking about the way he's talking about how his car's handling. Talking about 10 to go. Let me know with 10 to go. He's really going to guard what's going on out there at that point.
Talk about the great runs that people have had this week and last week. Dave Blaney coming off a 3rd place finish at Talladega. Best ever for Toyota in a NASCAR Nextel Cup car. And Blaney, the 22 car, now being shown in the 10th position here. And how important is that? Well, last week, because of that 3rd place finish, they moved into 35th in the owner's points, and right now they move up into 34th, and the 45 car of Kyle Petty would be back in 35th.
You see Glenn Wood, his team, the owner of the 21 car in the 36th, 100 points behind. That's the main reason they've got Bill Elliott in the car right now. He's a past champion. He's guaranteed a starting spot, and that's the only option that team's got right now.
Back up front, less than 20 laps to go. This racetrack very special to one Jeff Gordon. When he started his career in Nextel Cup, this was the place that he got his very first pole in October of 1993. He got his very first win the following spring in May of 1994.
And Jerry, this is a very special place for Hendrick Motorsports also. They're located basically right across the street and down the way. It's just a little bit from this Lowe's Motor Speedway here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that is something that Hendrick loves when his cars win the hometown.
Jeff Gordon said the win last week at Talladega was sweet for lots of reasons, but it was the first time he was able to go to victory lane and have his wife Ingrid and his new little daughter Ella with him. And he was holding the baby up in victory lane. He said, what a different experience that was.
I know that was special. I love that shot of victory lane with that little baby in there. I know that means so much to Jeff Gordon. Looks like he might get a chance to do it again tonight. He can hang on.
You know, just watch that last lap time, Andy. It looks like Kyle Busch couldn't catch him that last lap. Like Jeff Gordon outrun him that time. They both were in pretty clean air. They weren't negotiating much traffic at all, so pretty good comparison there.
There's the 24 car making a lap. Got to see sort of the relationship where he was and other cars that are on the racetrack here, as we now have 21 cars on the lead lap. Final car on the lead lap, by the way, is the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, I really like that shot just a little while ago. I really let the people know how far far ahead Jeff was and who he was having to race. Right now he's got the clean traffic and nobody around him. Man, that's what you want. But as a driver, you're starting to hear the noises now, Andy. Something's going wrong. I'm hearing a vibration. You're talking to your crew chief.
Jeff Gordon's been in this position so many times, though. I think he's seasoned at this. I think he's just doing what he has to do. He's not, like you say, running the middle of the racetrack, not taking any chances around lap cars. He's got, 3 or 4 second lead now that he can play with.
See Kevin Harvick right there in the 29 car moving over for Jeff Gordon. He knows he's not in competition. Harvick's 5 laps down right now, having a horrible night. This night was over.
How much do you let yourself think about the fact that something has happened to him the last 5 consecutive times he's been here? Somehow, something has happened even in the late laps to keep him from finishing. In fact, he hasn't won here since 1999.
I bet he's thinking about all the times that he did win here, and that's what he's getting ready to do tonight. I bet he doesn't even think about those races where he fell out of the race. He's thinking positive thoughts right now.
Here's a battle for 3rd spot. Clint Boyer trying to hold on to 3rd position. Ryan Newman's car now moving in. Oh, tough luck here. The 43 car slowing down for Bobby Labonte.
Oh, man, that's too bad. Had a great run going.
As is the 66, Jeff Green. And we got a car spinning up in turn 4. That's Johnny Sauter. And, whoa, this could tighten things up quite a bit here as caution comes out for the 14th time with just 13 laps to go.
And Jeff Gordon's thinking, I cannot believe this. I got such a big lead. And now I got to race my brains out again. And Kyle Busch is loving this part.
How about Jimmy Johnson? He's got to be loving it, too, because now Jimmy Johnson up to 7th spot. And he'll get a chance to be able to make a charge here in the final 5 or 6 laps.
Oh, man, right now we're showing 12 laps to go. And you know the tensions are high with these drivers. They're thinking, I got another shot, baby. I'm ready for it now.
They got enough fuel. Most of them have enough fuel to go all the way here. It's going to be interesting to see if they come down and get tired.
20 cars in the lead lap. How about the guys that are back there on the back end of the lead lap?
Those guys are coming. I'm just wondering what these leaders are going to do.
Boy, this is a tough call right now with...
This is why I like standing up here on top of the grandstand talking about it, not on the pit box.
I'll show you Johnny Sauter's spin here up in turn 4. Well, let's see what happened to Johnny. Now, it's in progress. He's already spinning. And watch him come down across the racetrack.
Well, it looks like he just lost it all by himself. There's nobody in front of him, nobody behind him. Just a classic case of turn 4 eating up another car. But Johnny didn't tear the car up too bad. A little dent in the right front there.
Was there something coming out of the 66 car that just began to slow? It was smoking. Let's see, there's some smoke out of that car.
Something's covering up our camera lens right here, some fluid. You see as it cleans itself off. There's definitely fluid on the racetrack.
Yeah,
coming out of that 66.
Well, that's a big stream of fluid coming out of the 66 car. And the 70 car, Johnny Sauter, absolutely could have got into that and caused that accident because there was no cars around him to aerodynamically cause him to spin out. Could have been the fluid.
And by the way, these are teammates 66 and 70. Now, what's the thinking on the 24 car? Let's check in where Jamie is caught up with the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, Steve Letarte.
Yes, and the whole team was like, oh no, when the caution came out. So Steve, as a crew chief now, these final laps, what do you do?
Well, if your stuff's better than the guy behind you, we're going to stay out, stick with it. Our goal's 500 miles. I'd like to win, but 500 miles is our #1 goal. We're in it for the big picture.
You told me today you guys would be happy running top 15 right now. Do you feel like you guys are capable of finishing this thing and getting to victory lane?
I absolutely think we're capable. Jeff's a remarkable talent. He's really carried us all year long. He's carried us again tonight. We haven't had the best pit stops. I don't know if I've made the best pit calls, but hopefully this will be a good one. We'll stay out. Hopefully some of them guys back in the pack will stay out with us. We'll see what happens.
All right, guys, there it is. Doc, he's going to stay out and hope to visit victory lane for the 81st time in his career.
Yeah, look at the windshield, the 24 car. Looks like oil or something on the windshield. Now we're being told there is oil around the racetrack, so they're going to take a little bit to clean this up. They're already dumping down some oil dry way down in turn 1. But that windshield, I mean, how bad is that as far as the visibility is concerned for a driver?
Well, that's not good whatsoever. I mean, the visibility is something you got to have at a restart when you got to drive your brains out.
The lighting here is excellent at Lowe's Motor Speedway, but it's reflective lighting. And, of course, again, you wonder with the oil in the windshield, how much of that lighting will reflect off the oil, how much of it will be a problem for the driver.
It's going to be a little bit of a problem because we heard Steve Letarte say the 24 car's not coming down pit road, so he's got what he's got. Here's the problem with that decision. Poor, the guy leading the race you think is in the best position, but if you don't pit and you stay out, every single car behind you can come in and you're just a sitting duck. So that's the chance you take.
18 car was giving the 11 a push. They're going to have to clean the whole racetrack, so they're going to stop them. Here comes the 11 down pit road. And pit road, the red lights flashing, pit road was closed. Here comes Denny Hamlin, though, down anyway.
He could have been out of fuel. He got some help from his teammate there, the 18 of J.J. Yaley, and it comes down pit road with it closed. So he may have been out of fuel. He'll have to get in here and get some regardless of whether it's open or not.
Yeah, here's Yaley pushing him here. Yeah, Hamlin was being shown in 14th position.
Actually, they're not even putting fuel in the car. I don't know what kind of problem they have here. They're looking up under the left side.
Keep jacking it up.
Dave?
Yeah, sounds like transmission. What we were talking earlier, now the red flag comes out as you hear Mike Ford instructing his crew not allowed to work on the car during the red. But yeah, remember earlier second gear was an issue, getting it into second gear, and now it appears the transmission giving him trouble again.
That's a tough break.
Yeah,
10 laps from the end.
Well, he was in, you would think he's at least in, some type of gear. And he got pushed around the racetrack with the 18 car, so.
See NASCAR making these crew members get away from the car. Cannot work on the car under a red flag condition. All the cars are stopped out here on the racetrack.
These engines have been running for almost 500 miles right now. They shut them off.
Let's listen into Jeff Gordon's radio.
That stuff blown off, scrubbed off, whatever they got to do to get it right. Not like last on that Busch race.
He's looking for a clean racetrack on this restart. He really wants them to clean it up real good. Sounded like he had some problems watching the Busch Series race last night. Track was pretty dirty in 3 and 4, and he doesn't want to have to contend with that.
Well, we had a incident with the 66 car losing an axle and got a bunch of rear end grease all over 3 and 4. They red flagged the Busch race, put all this speedy dry down, go back with the blowers and clean it off. They did a fairly good job, but it still leaves a little bit of residue.
Last night, that residue at the top of the track took the groove away from Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he was coming, and because of that, he didn't get a chance to possibly to win that race. Under a red flag here because of oil coming out of the 66 car. Cars are parked. We have 10 laps to go. Back with more after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, well, when the gloves come off, the claws come out. It's game night on Wisteria Lane, and the ladies are playing for keeps. Let the games begin on Wisteria Lane. Terry Hatcher, Felicity Huffman, Eva Longoria, Marcia Cross, and Nicolette Sheridan star in the all-new Desperate Housewives. Sunday, coming up, of course, tonight, 9 Eastern, 8 Central on ABC. 5-car. Kyle Busch in position to make his move, currently sitting in second position. Let's go down and talk to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, with Dave Burns.
Yeah, Jerry, and I don't think we have any desperate crew chiefs right now, but one who would like to win. Your boy was second last night. And were you watching where they were putting the speedy dry here? Because he's been running that high line. I think it's down low, is it not?
Yeah, I think the speed dry is down low. The 66 had a little bit of a problem, but the Kellis Concord Chevy's good tonight. So we don't want another second. My son's here with me. My oldest son's here with me. And every time he comes, we finish seconds. We need to win him a race. I've been promised we're going to win him a race, so hopefully we can win him a race tonight.
Is he crossing double fingers or doing something different so he can win?
I'm hoping, crossing toes and fingers and blinking twice and touching your nose or whatever it takes. But it's been a good night. Kyle's done a good job. Jeff's been strong, but I think we're a little bit on a long run. We'll see after these tires cool off, see what we can do.
Yeah, that really showed Jamie in the last run. He came back after falling back a few positions.
Very impressive there. And now I'm with Chad Knaus, crew chief for Jimmy Johnson, who has done a heck of a job. He dominated the first part of the race, but his best work has been now battling back from 29th. Chad, what do you guys have for the front of the field now? You guys are in 6th. What can you do?
I think that it's realistic to get a top 5. I don't think that we can do much more than that. Jimmy's done a very good job of driving back up through the pack. The guys did a good job of working on the car and getting it repaired. So it's still fast. It's not as fast as the 24 or the 5, but I think maybe we can get by the 31 and maybe even the 12.
Well, when you guys were dominating, you came in and made the call to get a spring rubber. That cost you some positions on pit road. Is that what led to him making a mistake out there?
Ultimately, yeah, I hate to say it. It was probably poor timing for that pit call right there, and then the pit stop wasn't the best, so we lost some track position. And, he had to he's maybe being a little overly aggressive trying to get back up to the front, too. So it was a bunch of things that compounded right there and put us in the position we're in. But, it's great to be running here at Lowe's Motor Speedway so close to home. And, obviously, if the 24 wins this thing, it's going to be a great effort for the whole team.
Well, it's definitely not all about winning here. It's all about points. And right now, Jimmy Johnson doing his job, Doc, and he's sitting second in the points.
Exactly, Jamie. Take a look at the point standings with 10 laps to go. Jeff Gordon, of course, stays atop. Jimmy Johnson, 39 back. There's Boyer staying in third. Tony Stewart. Carl Edwards will move up a spot. Kyle Busch would move up 2 positions. You see there the separation. Kevin Harvick, a loser there because of the troubles early on. And, of course, Matt Kenseth back to 12th position. How about a tough night for some of the chase contenders? Right off the bat, Kevin Harvick had issues. Had a left side tire go down. Had to make 2 pit stops to find out which one it was. That cost him 3 laps. He now sits back in 33rd position. Matt Kenseth has a right rear issue with the 17 car. Comes around, pirouettes down through the grass, and will come back up and just tap the wall there and damage the right side. Trouble on pit road for the 2-time Cup champion trying to lead. Contact for Tony Stewart with Menard, and contact there again, the 9 car of KCK. Also contact on pit road with the 2 car. Mark Martin coming in, Kurt Busch trying to come out, damage on the right front fender. How about the 5-time Lowe's Motor Speedway winner, Jimmy Johnson, spinning up in the 48 car and damaged that right rear. Had to come down and get it taped off. And most recently, the 11 car having transmission troubles. Denny Hamlin getting an assist down there from the 18 car, J.J. Yaley, to get him on the pit road. Guys, a lot of the chase contenders having trouble tonight, and now with 10 laps to go, it looks like Jeff Gordon may be able to finally hold on and finish one here at this racetrack. But that 5 car is awfully tough, and some others up there, the 07 are going to be pretty stout.
Oh,
as
man,
well.
it's going to be a 10-lap shootout, Jerry. You talk about tension. I mean, I'm looking at 4 cars out there right now that I got a legitimate shot to win this thing. Jeff Burton in the 5th position. He's going to drive hard, too. But, man, this end is where the tension gets high, Andy. This is where, as a driver, I'm all pumped up. I'm wide open. I'm thinking I can win this thing.
Jeff Gordon looks pretty good sitting out in front, and he's had a good lead, and everything's been going his way, but still got a little meat on the bone. We got a few laps to go here, and these are going to be real tension-filled laps because they've put a lot of speedy dry on the racetrack. These guys, where Jeff Gordon's been running that low line, it's going to be a little dirty down there, and I think Kyle Busch, with that high line he's been running, he's thinking maybe he's got an advantage right here.
What about the 07 car, Clint Boyer? Jerry, he's been liking the top lane a lot. He's been running the top lane, but for the guys like Andy said that love that bottom, they might have to change groups.
Now, what about the fact that Rick Hendrick owns both the 24 and the 5 car, and also, by the way, the 48 car. But Rick Hendrick talking to Jeff Gordon about the 5 car, who's awfully good back behind him.
Jeff, you got a copy, bud? 10-4. Okay, I told him not to wreck you and be careful. You saw he had you, you let him go. So, you'll be smart. Look at the big picture and let's finish this thing.
That's a very wise owner because he understands he's got at least 2 cars, maybe 3 cars in contention, not only for this race, but for a championship.
Okay, Rusty, you're leading the race, or you're leading the points, you're leading the race. You've got a guy hungry behind you without much to lose. What are you going to do?
I'm going to choke him down on the restart and come to the gears as hard as I can and try to get a couple car links on him, getting into turn 1 so he can't get on my bumper and make me loose.
Okay.
I got to get away from him.
If he does, he gets under you, what are you going to do? How hard are you going to race him?
Well, I'm going to have to race him pretty hard, but I'm not going to take myself out. But you know what? At this track here at Lowe's, Andy, it's a great question. It's hard to keep him doing that.
And remember, Kyle Busch is not going to be a teammate much longer. He's going to a different team, so how much do you want to play the team cooperation here?
Well, I think that's why Rick Hendrick came on the radio, because he knows that Kyle Busch is hungry, and he's going to do whatever it takes for him to get a win for his team.
Yeah, for Rick Hendrick to come along and say, please don't wreck us, that's a pretty bold statement. You know?
Look at these guys. They said, okay, may the best man win.
And we got the boss in our pits here. Let's see what's going on here. Let's go down to the pit studio with Susie Colbert and Brent Doherty. Guys?
You know, I'm going to say for strategy, you have to give an A+ to Steve Letarte, Jeff Gordon's crew chief. Just think of last week, all the patience, sitting, waiting, and then finally leading the last third of the last lap to win it. And then the same thing today. They haven't even finished a race here in 3 years. So the strategy was, let's just make 500 miles. So put the goals a little bit low, not shoot for too much, and then look where he sits.
Oh, Susie, all I can say is the spring race at Talladega, Kyle Busch didn't have any drafting partners. He said his Hendrick teammate left him out on the dryer or on the line to drive by himself, sitting second. I don't care what Rick Hendrick told that young man. He is going to get all over Jeff Gordon's bumper, and I'm going to tell you, we are going to have a shootout when this thing goes green. I can't wait. Oh, my goodness, this is going to be great.
You know, in our countdown show, we made such a big deal over Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson being teammates and friends, And well, they're both going for the title here. How much could that get in the way? And now you're throwing Kyle Busch in the mix too.
I'm sorry, that was Daytona in July. I said Talladega. Daytona in July. Kyle Busch is in the mix. And like I say, this is going to be a shootout.
Would you almost look at it for him right now like almost nothing to lose? This is his last run with this team.
He has absolutely nothing to lose. Next year, he's in a different uniform, a different team, and he leaves all this behind. But also, let's talk about Jimmie Johnson, he has recovered, come all the way back from 6th position from roughly 28th, 29th. He has done a stellar job getting back into this race. And who knows, he could get a good run on this green flag and get up right back up, get on the outside, and have a good chance as well of winning this race.
All right, let's not leave Clint Boyer out of this mix either in the 07, sitting there in third. Yeah. Let's go over to Dave.
And Susie right now catching up with the highest running Richard Childress Racing crew chief right now. Had the advantage earlier, Gil. Where did the car go?
Well, I mean, this set of tires right here has just been a little bit tight right there. So after we cool off right here, I think it's going to be good. I mean, Clint's done a great job with the Jack Daniels Chevy tonight. We've put ourselves in a position to win this thing, or at least have a really excellent position to finish right here. So looking forward to the end of this thing, and looks like we're getting ready to go. They got her cleaned up. I think we'll be all right.
Help me understand a little bit too, because he was reporting the car to be a little bit tight in the short run. Is that maybe okay for him?
I think it's going to be, because everybody's going to lay some laps down right here. You're going to see some qualifying laps here for about 8 laps. So if it's a little bit tight, it's probably going to be a good thing.
Good luck, Doc.
Yeah, Clint Boyer, how good has this kid been? First time he's ever been in a chase. He won his first race in New Hampshire, second at Kansas, and boy, is this young man third in the points, trying to hang on and maybe be the beneficiary. Now, we heard Rick Hendrick talking about to the 24 car to Jeff Gordon. Here's what Rick Hendrick had to say to Kyle Busch.
Kyle, you got a copy, Kyle? Yo. Jeff said that you look like you got him. He'll let you go. You guys just be smart, okay? Sounds good. No wrecks, okay? I've had 2 already that were uncalled for. 10-4, buddy. Be smart.
Well, that's a pretty good advice right there out of Rick Hendrick, you know. You notice he snuck right there at the very end and said, no wrecks. He didn't say it at the top. He kind of eased that one in. And
he says, I hear you, but I'm going for the win.
Yeah, Rick's a fantastic guy down there coaching his drivers along. And this has got to be a very nervous time for Rick Hendrick, Jerry.
I can remember once at Martinsville years ago when all 3 of his cars wrecked each other in the backstretch of Martinsville. I've never seen him so angry. The 11 car that came on the pit road, remember, had the transmission issues. They wouldn't let him work on under the red flag. He has now pushed him back out. He is under power. Denny Hamlin was being shown in 14th position. Remember, there are 20 cars on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the final car on the lead lap. So the worst he could come out is 20th when we go back to restart.
Yeah, they got a mess out there going into turn 1. A lot of oil dry in the track. The blowers are trying to get it off of there. And then on the exit of turn 4 on the bottom, there's a lot of oil dry down there too. You can see the residue in the track still. NASCAR's doing a good job, doing the best they can right now. And Gordon is very, very concerned about having a clean racetrack. That's what's on Jeff Gordon's mind right now. He wants to get out there. But the good thing Jeff's got, he's got the clean racetrack in front of him. Don't have to race anybody.
The only disadvantage to that is if the racetrack is not cleaned off good enough, the first one to know is going to be Jeff Gordon, because he's going to be the first one in there.
Well, you're full of good news, aren't you?
That's why he's so concerned about it.
Well, Andy, you're exactly right. Exactly right. I mean, you're in there and you're going to have to get this track cleaned off. You're the first guy there, and it's not fun sometimes.
Some of the 20s coming in. Tony Stewart, the 2 comes in. Casey Kane also coming in. These cars on the lead lap. There's a 2 car. Alan?
Well, what you're seeing here are guys that have nothing to lose coming in to put some fresh tires on to see how many cars on their lap they can pass in this final sprint to the finish with this fresh tire. Mike?
Tony Stewart saying he's way loose, going to make a quick wedge adjustment and 2-tire change.
8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. also in, 43 in, Bobby Labonte. These cars that are on the tail end are actually they're at the bottom of the lead lap. Remember, 20 cars in the lead lap. Labonte was down there. Earnhardt Jr. was down there.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's a lot of damage on the right side. He's got up in a wall one time or another with that car. Andy, that might be the reason this car's been off the pace tonight.
Yeah, you see a lot of damage on the right side of these cars. The 25 car ahead of him's got a lot of damage too. That's the chance you take when you run about an inch off that wall. You're going to hit it. some point in time.
It doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I mean, when you're running around about a foot off that track, you're going to hit it every now and then. And evidently, it slowed this car down somehow. The toe end having a problem, the right front fender being knocked in an 8 car. Definitely went off the pace.
Talk about all-time winners in the NASCAR Nextel Cup racing. The King, Richard Petty, 200 wins. The all-time win leader, got that great win at Daytona. David Pearson, the Silver Fox, with 105 wins, back in second spot. Tied for third, Bobby Allison with 84 career wins, who's he tied with? Old DW. 84 wins, along with his 3 titles. Cale Yarborough just one back with 83 wins. And who is 6th all-time? How about Jeff Gordon with 80 wins last week at Talladega? And how about his very first career victory? He came here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, May 29th, 1994. The celebration began, and a very young 23-year-old Jeff Gordon overcome with emotion in victory lane by being able to win in NASCAR's major leagues that early in his career.
It's really neat to see how much this sport means to Jeff Gordon. We saw it last week at Talladega. He won that race. He was so excited. I love that emotion.
Hamlin back on pit road. They're going to change those right side tires, Dave.
And when they had that last caution period, guys, Denny had taken the car out of high gear to downshift to come down pit road and could not get it back into gear. That was the issue. And they'll still have that issue now, it appears. Yep, 4th gear, they got it in high. They found a way to get it in there and keep it there, but you see the team will have to push the car till he can lug it along there and get it refired and go.
Well, right now, before he hit pit road, he was showed in the 14th position. If you got to restart in high gear with only 8 laps to go, that's going to be a tough one.
Best thing he can do is get at the back and make sure nobody runs over him.
Because right now, when we go back to green, you're going to see an 8-lap qualifying run, or whatever it is we've got to go, whether it gets down to 6 laps, 7 laps, whatever. Every single lap's going to have like a qualifying lap. These drivers are going to run as hard as they can, not hold back at all. That's all they can do.
The old-fashioned trophy dash. And Jeff Gordon, of course, has won it here. Kyle Busch, 7 times he's raced here tonight, the 8th. He has never won. His best finish is 6th. In fact, Kyle Busch has never had a top 5 at Lowe's Motor Speedway. You know, the 07 has never won here. Got his first Cup win at New Hampshire. And by the way, the pole sitter back there, number 12, Ryan Newman, 7 pole positions in 14 races. He's never won here either. His best finish was 2nd. How about some hungry drivers here toward the front of that field?
Tell you what, this thing's running out when I shake it back and forth, so we must not have a lot in there. We got about 12 laps. They got 45. We'll be coming to the outside, about 6 back.
That makes me a little nervous. I'm hearing Jeff Gordon say that when he weaves his car back and forth, that it's starting to miss a little bit. So he's a little bit concerned about how much fuel he has in the tank. That'll probably be okay if they get going, but it could stumble on this restart.
I'm going to tell you, one guy I'm really liking where he's running right now, Ricky Rudd. Boy, he's had a good run. The 90s in the 10th position. And behind him, A.J. Allmendinger. We're seeing drivers up there in the top we don't normally see. But I don't like it when a driver says my car's starting to miss a little bit. Won't run right. And he's leading the race. Talk about a lot of tension there.
Steve Letarte looking very poised, composed. I guess you got what you got, Andy. Nothing you can do there for your crew chief to sit there and watch.
It is so frustrating to sit on that box. Nothing you can do. You can't touch the car. It's all in the driver's hands. And you got all this nervous energy. You're trying to figure out what to do with it.
So many questions. What about the racetrack? Does it have enough grip there? You're going to be the first guy to find out. How about that windshield with oil all over it? How much can you see? How about the fuel situation? Is the engine going to sputter? And oh, by the way, is someone going to run over me from behind that really wants to win this, like maybe a teammate or somebody else? And all I want to do is win the race, but I really want to win the chase.
Kyle Busch has got he's always got another gear on these restarts too, so it's going to be nip and tuck here.
We're going to get Jeff Gordon leading the points right now by 39 points over Jimmy Johnson. But Clint Boyer's only 83 behind, and he's thinking, I hope you guys take each other out, and I might be leading this title when it's all over.
I'm betting Clint Boyer is going to commit to the top side of the racetrack right off the bat here and just take what he can get.
Well, right now, I'm taking a look at the point standings here. Tony Stewart, 220 points behind. We got 3 players right now. The 24 car, Jeff Gordon, 48 of Jimmy Johnson, and the 07 car, Clint Boyer. They've held tough all night long.
Jeff Gordon has won more on mile-and-a-half racetracks than any other active driver. He has 12 wins on these kind of racetracks. He knows how to get it done. You saw his very first victory came here when he was very young, driving for Hendrick back in '94. So he understands that what you have to do here to hold off some folks in the final laps.
I don't think I'd want anybody else driving my race car but Jeff Gordon in this situation. He knows how to get this done. Not saying it's a done deal, but he's the guy I would love to have in my car in this situation.
No, I wouldn't want to predict anything right now, but look at Rick Hendrick. He didn't wear his shoes out walking in circles trying to get this race over. It's a nervous car owner right now.
Yeah,
It'll be 5 laps to go, guys, and this is going to be an unbelievable shootout. My main concern right now, will the car stick in the corner with all the oil dry down there that's not really had tire rubber run through it yet?
I'm nervous, and I don't have a dog in this fight.
Wonder what's going through Rick Hendrick's mind. And Jeff Gordon, we talked about all his wins on mile-and-a-half racetracks over the years. He hasn't won on a mile-and-a-half yet this year until tonight. These guys thinking about what could happen.
If the 24 gets into turn 1 and slides up about a lane and a half, and a 5 car gets underneath them, and it's a drag race down into turn 3, Jeff Gordon might have that momentum on the top of the racetrack to hold off that 5 car, because that bottom lane off of turn 4 is dirty right now, guys.
Lots of time to think about what could happen in those cars. And we're going to find out what's going to happen as the pace truck pulls away. Can Gordon hang on? What about Kyle Busch? Will he listen to team orders? Don't wreck each other, guys. Big picture. You said Clint Boyer will go high. Will he go high? We're going to find out. Green flag with 5 laps to go. Here they come. 5 car underneath the 24. 24 car must be sputtering.
And take a look at Ryan Newman. He just checked out. The 5 cars under the 24, they both got slowed down. And Ryan Newman said, adios, I am out of here.
Clint Boyer couldn't get to the top because Ryan Newman was already there.
Jeff Burton down on the bottom of the racetrack, the 31 car. He's made a move, but Ryan Newman pulling away.
And the Penske team is on their feet right now, freaking out, going, how did we just get back in the game? And Jeff Gordon can't believe it.
Battle with the 5 and the 31. Kyle Busch now falls in line behind Jeff Burton, who's in behind Clint Boyer in the 07.
Here comes Kyle Busch on the top.
Look at the 99 Carl Edwards. He's kind of getting in the picture right now. He's in a 6th position. 3 laps to go.
Jeff Gordon trying to run down Ryan Newman. Whoa, Newman up in the wall. In the wall. The 12 car up across the racetrack and tags the wall with 3 laps to go.
Oh, my goodness. He just ran the fastest lap of the race the lap before that.
Wow, he was digging for it. Never has won here. Wanted it so badly. At 3 laps to go, the car just abruptly snaps over in turn 2.
All right, guys, left side, I'm ready. Let's go.
You can't accuse Ryan Newman for not going for it.
It's jump, Mikey.
Man, that's tough break. God, what?
And we're hearing Jeff Gordon
Running
thinks...
out, we're going to finish better than coming in.
Jamie?
And Jeff Gordon saying his car is sputtering. He doesn't know what's going on. Thinks maybe he's out of fuel. But Steve Latarda's crew chief said you should be fine right now. He said stay out right now. And at least if we run out, we hope to stay in the top 10. So see what happens here.
Right now, Clint Boyer's got him in his gun sights. Boyer's got a good car, too.
Well, let's take you back to the restart here with 5 laps to go.
And it ran out of gas.
Now, Gordon suddenly slows. You hear him say the thing's running out of gas. It sputters. Watch the 12 car go around the outside and just take off.
And the 5 car, he's just too loose on the bottom to stay in the throttle. He can't get any momentum going.
Ryan Newman pulling away. Now Gordon chasing him. 3 laps to go in turn 2. Now watch the 12 car just snap sideways.
Man, it looked like he was gone from here, and then all of a sudden it just went away.
It just wiggled just a little bit and took off. Looks like the tires are up. Dave?
Restart, guys. Newman, right before that, uttered a phrase which indicated he would be throwing caution to the wind. Speedy drying things in the turns didn't bother him. He was going to go for the lead. Then, after the car spun and hit the wall, he said, blew a left rear tire.
And the problem is the left rear tire is still up on it. It doesn't look like it's blown out. As a driver, though, you can feel that maybe you thought that's what it was, but as the car came by on our cameras, I didn't see the left rear tire flat on it.
Tough break either way. Man, that was just tough to see. And now what do we have? We got a car leading the race that may be out of fuel.
Got the 48 of Jimmy Johnson on pit road. He comes down and try to get some fuel. Can't take a chance there. There's Jimmy. Got to change some right side tires. And what about Jeff Gordon? On the flat?
This is a bad thing. If you're running on the flat, it means you're picking up all the debris on the apron, but it's his only choice he's got. The pickup is in a right rear corner of these fuel cells. And if he's on the bank and the fuel's going to run away from it, the car is going to try to die.
And so is Kyle Busch.
Yeah, we see his teammate doing the same thing exactly. So these guys are worried about fuel.
This is real reminiscent of what we saw with Tony Stewart at Kansas City right before the rain came. Tony thought he had to race one. He was on the apron. But Jerry, the problem here is if he goes back, he's got a lot of debris in those tires now.
And we saw Greg Biffle win that race on the apron, hanging on with just ounces of fuel. There's going to be one attempt, and NASCAR allows only one attempt, Andy, at the green, white, and checker.
One attempt, and that is it. And boy, the 5 is out of gas. The 24 is out of gas. They're still running, but they're very, very concerned. You see the 5 wiggling back and forth, trying to get fuel to the right rear corner of that fuel cell.
This will be the 5th green, white checker of 2007. Daytona, Bristol, Talladega, and Michigan in August.
Our graphic shows all these guys should be completely out of fuel, sitting on empty. The problem here is that pickup is in the right rear corner, and once these cars get the G-forces in the corner, that fuel will go over to the right side. But on this restart, it's going to be over in the left, so it could stumble. These cars that are low on fuel may not get going good.
This is NASCAR's version of overtime, and we've already seen some big-time upsets today in overtime. Triple overtime, and Kentucky stuns #1 LSU. Folks, coming in tonight, #1 in the points was the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Does he get stunned in overtime in a NASCAR race? It's been that kind of day in sports.
Tony Stewart right now is 4th in the points, 206 points behind the leaders. And he is really hoping that the 24 car of Gordon's going to run out so he can make some ground. But the guy it looks like he's really going to benefit is Clint Bowyer.
Clint Bowyer has been the Cinderella story this entire chase. Got his first win at New Hampshire. Been able to move up to 3rd position, the highest he's ever been in his brief career in the point standings.
This could be very interesting, even if they go back to green. Will the tires on the 24 be cleaned off enough that he can get grip to get through the corner?
Here they come. Pace truck pulls away. Jeff Gordon will lead him down. Does he have the fuel to get up to speed? Watch Bowyer. He knows that Gordon may not have a lot of fuel. Which way does he go? Gordon in the middle groove. Does Bowyer go high? Gordon now coming up to speed. Watch the 5 car. How much fuel does he have as well?
Looks like Gordon gets a lot better restart this time.
Even he doesn't know how much fuel's in the tank. Is it going to sputter? Here comes the 31 car. Burton, who won it last night in the Busch competition from the back of the pack.
Can he make it on field? Jeff Gordon's got a good handling car.
White flag for Jeff Gordon. 1 lap to go. Does he have enough?
Unbelievable. This 07 car, Clint trying to run him down. But doesn't look like Gordon's going to have a problem. His car's stuck good. He's got a half a lap to go.
It's been since 1999 that Jeff Gordon has been able to come home and win at this racetrack. He has not finished a race in 3 years, but folks, tonight, Jeff Gordon wins again at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Got to hand it to that 24 team.
Unbelievable. I would have never bet that the 24 would have enough grip to get through the corner after running on the flat.
He's going to horseshoe up their butt, but keep it up there. Great job, guys. Woo, that's awesome. Charlotte.
Great effort there, and I bet Rick Hendrick is just sighing a big sigh of relief, a big smile on Rick Hendrick's face. His drivers finished 1st and 3rd. Let's go down to Dave.
Well, he just said to me, I don't think I can take a lot more of this. What was going through your mind there?
Well, you know, first off, we wanted to tell Jeff and Kyle, hey, let's think big picture.
Oh, we heard that. Told them not to wreck each other.
Right. And then Jeff said he thought it stumbled, so I thought we're out of gas, and Jimmy ran out of gas. Oh man, it's a great win, and I'm just glad it's over.
You can sleep well tonight.
Oh yeah, I can sleep well tonight.
All right, let's go to Mike Massaro.
And we're with the very happy Steve Letarte. Steve, the first thing you did was go down to Alan Gustafson. What'd you say to him?
Well, I just thanked him because on that restart before we went out, we ran out of gas getting into 1. It stumbled, and the 5 easily could have spun us out. But that kid in the 5 showed a lot of maturity right there. He really gave us a break, and that's what allowed us to win tonight.
How stressful was that?
More stressful than it needed to be. It could have just went green. It would have been okay. But it was a good day for us. The DuPont Chevrolet ran well all day. The pit crew did good, and now I just need to get an update on the Red Sox score.
We'll work on that for you, Steve. Of course, Steve from Maine, very interested in what's going on in Boston tonight, Doc.
Wow, final results, Jeff Gordon takes the win. Clint Boyer in second. Kyle Busch, his teammate, back in third. Jeff Burton finishes fourth, making up for the disappointments the last couple of weeks. And Carl Edwards, 5 chase drivers finishing in the top 5. Edwards, by the way, finishing 5th. Well, he had enough fuel, guys. He had enough fuel. Let's check in once again with Dave.
With Clint Boyer now, who had a good run to the end there. Clint tried at the end there, had a run going.
Yeah, he spun the tires, and you know, I kind of backpedaled a little bit and got a good run on him, and I just you know, I didn't pull it down quick enough. He slipped, and I was gaining on him too fast and got into the back of him instead of going underneath of him. But you know, nonetheless, this isn't my best racetrack, and Gil and all the guys, they brought me a good hot rod. We went and tested this car. I got a lot of confidence in it. Got a lot of confidence in these guys, and we ain't out of it. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna get Jack Daniels championship.
Clint Boyer gained a lot tonight, Doc.
Let's take a look at our Chevy winning moment. It would be Jeff Gordon, the 4-time Cup champion, coming down for the checkered flag with his Chevrolet. What an effort for Gordon tonight, holding on despite the fact that the tank was almost dry. And Jeff Gordon extends his points lead in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup to 68 points over his teammate Jimmy Johnson. It was 9 points coming in. Clint Boyer hangs on the 3rd position. Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards moves up a couple of spots. Kyle Busch moves up 2 positions. The big loser there, Kevin Harvick, who had that tire issue very early tonight, he slides all the way back into 8th spot. Jeff Gordon, the long dry spell, just finishing a race here, not since October of 2003, but that's all over. Let's go down to victory lane at Jamie Little.
Doc, it was 13 years ago. Jeff Gordon got his first ever Cup victory here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, at Lowe's Motor Speedway, and tonight he comes through victorious. Jeff, what were those final moments of that race? His beautiful wife Ingrid here. What were those closing moments like for you?
Well, I can't tell you how many times we tried to give this one away. Oh, man, I don't know where to start. You know, just an incredible day for the DuPont Chevrolet team, and I got to thank all these guys. I mean, they just never gave up, you know. And Jimmy Johnson, I'm not sure what happened to him. You know, he had us all covered, and when I saw they had problems, you know, I thought that was an opportunity for us. We had an awesome race car. The best the car was all night was, you know, there towards the end. It was just on rails. So, you know, I just kept saying, no caution, please, no caution, no caution. And I saw oil coming on my windshield. I saw the 66 was leaking it. Everybody's going everywhere. I knew the caution was going to come. And then the thing ran out of gas. I was having trouble with the pickup. It was on the banking, and all the fuel was running out of the pickup. And I wasn't smart enough to know to go around the apron the first time. And then even on that last one, on the restart, the tire spun so bad that Clint Boyer, he could have gone right by me, and he gave me a big shot in the rear bumper. And it kind of got me going again. So great day. I just got to thank DuPont and Pepsi and Quaker State GMHC, all the folks from Nicorette and Georgia Pacific and Sparkle brand. What an awesome, awesome day today was. I mean, this is what we've been looking for, is getting us a win in Charlotte. What a great comeback. And I owe it all to those guys right there. Steve Letarte, all the guys on this team. Everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, engine department, chassis, we're here at home. So we got to thank all those guys and all the people that work so hard right here locally.
And NASCAR's backyard, Doc, he takes home the victory for the 2nd week in a row.
Thank you, Jamie. Congratulations to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Bank of America 500 winner Jeff Gordon, his 6th win of the year, 81st of his career. And by the way, he extends his chase lead to 68 points over his teammate Jimmy Johnson. Next week, we head to Martinsville Speedway, NASCAR's oldest track, getting down on the wire. Race number 6 in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Our coverage of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Subway 500 on ABC Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. What a night here for the NASCAR stars under the lights at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Coming up next, your late and local news over most of these ABC stations. Folks, thanks for watching our coverage of ESPN on ABC.